I believe we are live. Give you guys a sec to get into the chat room. What up, Casey? How you doing? We have a lot to... Alright, I think we have a lot to talk about. Well, like, I'm not talking about in terms of this show. Monday Night Raw was garbage. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Raw is terrible. This, especially with that ending tonight, whoosh. That was easily one of the worst endings of Monday Night Raw in recent memory. Not going to say all time, right? Because there's been some pretty bad ones. But what we saw tonight with that Shayna and Lizzie and Alexa Bliss segment, that was awful. And we'll talk about Raw. But there's a couple other things. I know I didn't do a SmackDown review. It's becoming a common theme, and I hate that. I'll be honest with you guys. I hate not doing SmackDown reviews, but my schedule is like packed. Like I'm sleep deprived. That's the easiest way to describe it. I'm sleep deprived. So the time that I could be spending making videos, you know, I'm mainly just sleeping. So it's just like, I don't know, and I feel like it's going to most likely be this way all summer. You know, I'm going to try to work at it, but I'm just letting you guys know, like, me not doing SmackDown reviews is not because I don't want to. It's because I'm so tired, I just don't have the energy to do it. I really don't. If you guys see, my uploading schedule has been horrific for the last month. And I love making content more than almost anything else. It's just, I'm so busy with work and all these other things. My spare time, my free time that would usually go to YouTube is going to sleep. Just me catching up on the rest and the energy I need to be able to do the other essential things in my life. So I just want to apologize for that. I'm going to try to do my best with the SmackDown reviews. Honestly, I'm going to try. It's just that it's hard. It really is hard for me right now. But I'm glad that you guys are here for, you know, those of you guys watching in the stream, in the chat room. Those of you guys watching this after the stream, of course. We're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to give you guys my like little 5 to 10 minute SmackDown thoughts since I did do the SmackDown review. I do want to talk about some of the WWE news that came out earlier this weekend. I know I did post a video that's doing pretty well. You guys showed a lot of support on that video we did where I spent an hour talking about Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott, and all the WWE releases that happened last week. The way WWE is going about it right now is, you know, there are talks, there internally at least, right? What we're being told is that there's no plan right now for WWE to sell the company, but still, you know, why are all these releases happening? Why are all these releases happening if WWE doesn't have something big on the docket? You know, budget cuts, please. We all know WWE makes way too much money to, you know, even need to release talent. We all know that. Like, Braun Strowman got released because he made $1 million. Sure, Braun Strowman, you know, if we're being honest, Braun Strowman probably shouldn't be paid $1 million. He's not one of the high-end guys in WWE. He's not on a Sasha Banks or Seth Rollins or AJ Styles or Roman Reigns level, like where he should be getting paid that much. But still, WWE makes way too much money to be able to say, oh, we're releasing you because you make too much. Like, come on. WWE makes most of its revenue just based off their TV deals. So I don't get it. I feel like something big is happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about. I don't know what it is, but I feel like eventually, you know, something big is gonna happen, and you know, when we look back at all these releases, we're gonna be like, oh, like, all right, that's why all these names were released at this amount of time. And the crazy thing is, you just look at Raw. Look at Raw alone. Look at all the superstars that appeared tonight. No matter if they were booked properly or not, you look at all those superstars that were on Raw tonight, let alone all the superstars that are in catering that are not being used. WWE has an endless boat of talent. They have so much talent in that company that's not used. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild how much talent WWE has that they don't use. You can release all those superstars and still have that much talent. It mind boggles me. It really does. And hold on, I'm trying to find it right now. I'm gonna try to find it right now. There was a list. I hope I have it. And like I said, since we're live streaming, it doesn't bother me too much. But I'm gonna try to find. There was a list of all the WWE talent that's been released just over, like, I believe, the last year. And if I can find it, let me see it. Please tell me I didn't delete it. If you could see how big this list is, like, you took all those names together and you made your own wrestling company with those released superstars. You could make a legit wrestling brand, your own wrestling company with those superstars. You know, so please let me find it. I'll let you guys put your thoughts in the chat. I'll look in the chat in a little bit. Oh man, please tell me it's here. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Ooh. I was concerned that, you know, I wasn't gonna find it, but what up, Paul? How you doing, my brother? Well, I just want to see who do we got in here. Oh, Paul, you missed a great episode of Raw tonight. One of the greatest endings of all time with Shayna Baszler and Lilly, which we'll talk about. I don't know. This might be a long string tonight. I hope not, but I'm going to read you guys the names of all the superstars that have been released just this year, just in 2021, not even including last year during the pandemic. So let me read the names. Braun Strowman, Big Show, Lars Sullivan, Steve Cutler, Wesley Blake. So that was, what was it? Forgotten Sons. Billy Kay, Mickey James, Tucker, Peyton Royce, Kalisto, Samoa Joe, Andrade, who made his AEW debut on Friday. Hey, like, are you guys surprised that Andrade's in AEW? I'm telling you right now, Aleister Black and Braun Strowman will most likely be there in 3 months. Mojo Rawley, Bo Dallas, Lana, Ruby Riott, Murphy, Aleister Black, Chelsea Green, Santana Garrett, Jasmine Duke, Alexander Wolf, Vanessa Bourne, Ezra Judge, Kaviti Devi, Skyfire Story, and these last five are like NXT people, Performance Center people. Velveteen Dream, Tom Phillips, Adrian Vink, Josiah Williams. You guys know Josiah. He's the guy that does, what's it called? WrestleFlow, right? And I think this is like the second time he's been released by WWE. He was like released during the pandemic, and then WWE brought him back, and then he got released again. And they released 2 referees. You take all those listed names, you could probably make your own wrestling brand with them. You know, and I'm not going to say how I would make a brand with those names, right? I would probably make like Samoa Joe and Aleister Black the faces of that company, but, you know, those are all the talent that WWE's released just this year. And you still, the fact that WWE has that much talent left, you look at the roster, you still like, damn, WWE has all this talent that's not being used. It just mind boggles me. Like, how do they come to these types of decisions? I don't understand. I don't understand at all, man. It really just like, what the fuck? Honestly, what the fuck goes in the minds of these people? So, you know, I just wanted to mention that really quick, because that was one of the things I noticed coming out of Raw. You know, WWE having all this talent even after all the names that have been released this year. And it's one of the problems. WWE has too much talent. You know, we know that a lot of it is because WWE doesn't book their superstars correctly. But part of it, a small part of it is that WWE has way too much talent on just the main roster. We're not even talking about NXT. On the main roster, they have too much talent. And still, we have 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. You should be able to get most of that talent on the show, incredible storylines to make us care about them. But still, WWE WWE. It's ridiculous. So, just wanted to talk about that. Let me see. There was an article from IW Nerd that I wanted to bring up before we get into Raw and SmackDown really quick. But SummerSlam is going to be in Las Vegas. I didn't do a video on this. We kind of knew it was going to be in Vegas, but the big thing is it's going to be in that new stadium, the new Raiders Stadium, right? And we know that WWE's been wanting to be the first ones in that stadium for a while now. They wanted, before the NFL season kicks off and the Raiders finally, debut it as their new home, WWE wants to be like, oh yeah, we're the first ones to have a big, massive event in there. And now, SummerSlam this year is going to be almost like a mini WrestleMania. And look, if WWE does John Cena versus Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, maybe we see Becky Lynch will probably be back by then. Who knows what other surprises are in store? I may have to go to that show. Because look, I want to see John Cena versus Roman Reigns so badly. I want to see that match, even though we've seen the match before with John Cena back going after world title number 17 and Roman Reigns being the best thing in the company right now, even though they are overexposing him on SmackDown, which I'll get to in a little bit, right? Look, and as bad as WWE's creative can be, that SummerSlam still has a chance to be a huge, massive event. Like, it's gonna be a mini WrestleMania. I don't know how many people they're planning to have in that stadium. I don't know if it's going to be like 70,000 like a normal WrestleMania. But remember a couple years ago when they had Royal Rumble, I believe in the... What's that? I forget what the name of that stadium in Texas is called. But... Look, as bad as WWE's creative can be, right now I am very excited for what SummerSlam could potentially be. Just those three matches alone, those three matches alone are going to carry that entire card if they actually take place at that show, which I do think is likely. Like, I've never been to Las Vegas. I've never been to Nevada in general. I've never really been to the West Coast, but I may have to make the trip. I don't know. It's still early. We still have a couple months till SummerSlam, but still, that is exciting to think about. Yeah. The real ESJ. What's going on, my brother? What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. It says, yeah. ESJ, where have you been, actually? I have not seen you in the chat room in ages. Like, when I saw your name, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, the real ESJ, he's an OG of the podcast supporter. He's been here for years. He was here back when it was me and Anthony doing the podcast together. So, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, also, I didn't even mention, SummerSlam's going to be on a Saturday this year, which has, Casey said from 1988 to 1991 and from 1993 to 1994. SummerSlam was on a Monday. In 1992, SummerSlam was on a Saturday. Aired on a Monday in the U.S. because the event took place in London, England. So there you go. There's some facts for you. But yeah, I don't know. I rather a WWE event take place on a Sunday because Saturday nights for me it could be crazy. But still, things SummerSlam being on a Saturday, somebody might have to wake me up for that one. I don't know because I usually do things on Saturday. I'm not going to let you guys know what goes on in my personal life. But usually Saturdays are, kind of busy for me. That's when, you got to go out looking all fly. That's when I'm doing things. So, I don't know. I may have to free up my Saturday for SummerSlam this year. Have a Saturday night SummerSlam review. The only time we've ever done... We rarely do streams on Saturday anyway. So, SummerSlam being on a Saturday this year It's gonna mess me up, but still, it's exciting. I'm not gonna lie. It is kind of exciting. That SummerSlam, is gonna be in that new Raider Stadium. We're still. What I'm intrigued is what's gonna be the capacity limit. What's gonna be capacity? Is it gonna be 70,000? I don't know how many seats can fit in that stadium, but is it gonna be? Let me just look up. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm talking a lot to avoid talking about Monday Night Raw. I don't want to talk about Raw. We will get to it eventually, but I want to talk about some of these other things because there was a lot of meaningful WWE news over the weekend. But I don't know. Let me look. Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. So the stadium can fit. Excuse me. The stadium can fit up to 65,000 people. So there you go. 65,000 people. So close to a WrestleMania capacity. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of excited. I'm actually really excited to see how it all comes together. Are we gonna get like a unique SummerSlam set, right? What's the capacity gonna be like? If the card is good, your boy may have to go to SummerSlam. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind. The real ESJ, man. I forgot your nickname was Junior. See, that's how long it's been since you've been in the chat, my brother. You've been gone for so long, I forgot that we used to call you Junior. That's your nickname. And he says, what happened to that hair? Oh man, yeah, I've been growing it basically for the last year. I like the twist. It kind of fits me. So I appreciate it. Yeah, I remember back in the day I used to wear hats for every review with my low cut. So, but now I got the long hair, looking like a fly boy. So yeah. Well, Dennis says, and Dennis, have you not been listening? I've been talking about if John Cena versus Roman Reigns takes place at SummerSlam, I may have no choice but to go. Look it. John Cena versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam gets me more excited than a Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair rematch. Not because I wouldn't be excited for the rematch, but because I love Roman Reigns' character so much. And growing up, right, John Cena was my favorite superstar. Before Sasha Banks entered my life, I was a John Cena fanatic. I loved the guy. My two favorite superstars, John Cena and Sasha Banks. So if we get John Cena versus Roman Reigns, Cena going for number 17 at SummerSlam, and we get potentially Sasha and the Bianca rematch, whew, I can't complain. I can't complain. There's just some events, as much as I harp on how bad WWE can be, there's some events that, that you can't miss. You can't miss. Yeah, JD says SummerSlam card is looking better than 37. Let me think about that for a sec. If you're JD, you're right. If we get the card with those three top matches, I don't even really care about the rest of the card, to be honest. If we get those three matches at SummerSlam, that's a better card than 37. That's because you're already going to be getting the anticipated rematch of Sasha and Bianca if they give it to us at SummerSlam, but and not give it to us at Money in the Bank because we still have no idea when Sasha's coming back. You give us the Cena versus Roman match that everybody wants. You give us Lashley and Lesnar, the dream match people have wanted for a decade now. Look, there's nothing else to complain about. Nothing else. So yeah, plus. We get Becky. Yeah, JD says, I think Becky and Bayley will feud too. It depends. It's all going to depend on Becky whenever Becky comes back and what brand she's on. Because here's the thing, and this is one of the things I wanted to mention before we got into Raw. The WWE draft will be taking place August 30th. That's the reports. It's not advertised yet because it's too early. But that is what WWE's planning. They're planning for the WWE draft. Yo, some fool texted me saying the Dragon Ball Super Broly isn't good. So I gotta just send him a text back. Like I said, I'm gonna take my time. Alright? Cause I don't even want to talk about Raw. So I'm gonna, if we have to spend 30, 40 minutes talking about other nonsense before we get to this Nitrosa show tonight, you know, so be it. Anyway, like back, yeah. So I sent the reply, but yeah. What else is there to complain about? I don't know. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, I was talking about the draft. The WWE draft, August 30th. Like I said, I don't know what brand Becky's gonna be on. You know, it doesn't really matter to me personally what brand she's on at this point, because I think Raw needs her more. Because the Raw Women's Division is pretty atrocious right now. You know, plus you could easily put Becky in there, have her go back after the title she never lost. You put her on SmackDown, you can always give us Becky versus Sasha again. I know people want a Becky versus Bayley feud. I've been wanting that now for years, and we've never really gotten that on the main roster. You know, Becky versus Bianca, as bad as Bianca's presentation has been, you know, I would love to see a Becky and Bianca match. But the thing about it is, we don't know. Things are going to change with the draft. So, I don't know. Maybe Becky comes back before SummerSlam, you know, and if she does, she would basically be on Raw, and then maybe she gets moved to SmackDown in the draft. That definitely, you know, I think would probably be one of the likeliest scenarios for her return. Maybe Becky returns for Money in the Bank. She goes after the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. Maybe she doesn't win the title, no matter if it's against Charlotte or Rhea Ripley. Maybe they do Becky versus Rhea. Maybe they do Becky versus Charlotte again. Maybe they do a triple threat match. And then, you know, Becky doesn't regain the title and then she gets moved to SmackDown in the draft. Definitely, you know, that is a very likely scenario. I kind of want to see Becky come back as a heel. Let's see the man character as a heel. I feel like it would be way more acceptable this time. Because when Becky first turned heel, it was because WWE was trying to force it. I would not mind a heel Becky Lynch as the man this time. But, you know, if she comes back as a babyface, I'm not going to complain. But, the intrigue of a Becky Lynch heel man run, and they do it correctly this time, it's definitely on my mind. So, so with the draft happening legit the week after SummerSlam, there's a lot we're going to be thinking about when we get to August. A lot. So, we'll see. We'll see. But, yeah, like I said, I have so much on my mind. I hope I'm not, you know, coming off as me going from here, here, and here. Once we get to the Raw review, things will be smooth. It's because there's a lot on my mind because there was so much news over the weekend. We got the draft announced, SummerSlam taking place in the NFL stadium on a Saturday. You know, all these other things. Yeah. Let me see. I should, yeah, and I gotta mention SmackDown, which we're gonna get to right now. Right now. Dennis, I hate Pokemon. All right. Dennis. Look, I don't know, Dennis. I'm gonna be honest with you for a sec. I don't know if you watch Raw or SmackDown, and if you don't, and you just listen to me, I appreciate it. You know. Definitely, I know there's a lot of people that don't watch the product and just listen to podcasters. But, you know, Dennis, you said, I heard maybe we might see Bianca versus Bayley versus Sasha at Hell in a Cell. Bianca versus Bayley has already been announced. We are 2 weeks away from Hell in a Cell. Sasha's not coming back right now. If Sasha comes back, it's not going to be before crowds return in July. There's a chance Sasha could be in the Money in the Bank match. We don't know what's the plan for Sasha is when she comes back. The only thing we know for certain is we're going to be getting a Bianca and Sasha rematch, most likely at SummerSlam. I feel like unless something big happens, right, in the next 2 months, I feel like it's already edged in stone that we're going to be getting the Sasha and Bianca rematch at SummerSlam. Maybe, you know, at Money in the Bank, we get like a triple threat match with Sasha, Bianca, and Bayley, right? Who knows? We don't know. But we're not getting Sasha, Bianca, and Bayley at Hell in a Cell. It's going to be Bianca and Bayley. And honestly, I want them to end it anyway. Because Bianca cut a horrific promo on SmackDown on Friday. Horrific. Horrific. But let's get into SmackDown real quick, because that's the last thing I wanted to mention before we get into Raw, and we're already almost 30 minutes into the stream. And I don't want to go like too... Look, the Raw review may end up being 2 hours anyway, but I try not to make it too long, because we all have lives. But, so yeah, basically what I was going to say, SmackDown, look. I love the storyline right now with Roman Reigns and the Usos. I love it. Roman's great. The Usos, you guys know, they're my favorite WWE tag team. They're amazing. The storyline they're doing right now where, Roman cut that promo, he's telling Jimmy and Jay, bring me the tag team championships. If you say you're going to win, you better win. Because I'm the tribal chief. And what you do affects me. Roman being that heel, right? Making everything about him. And he's like, bring me the tag team championships. Our entire family is watching. And the Usos and the Mysterios had a really good match, right? And then, there was controversy at the end where the ref made the 3 count when Jimmy's shoulder was up. And then they did the rematch near the end of the night where Roman was angry at the Usos for not getting the job done a second time. And then he does that huge, brutal attack on Dominic, right? And all that. And then he throws Ray over the Thunderdome barricade into the screen area. It was great stuff. But it took over 45 minutes of the show. As great, and I've said this before, as great as Roman Reigns is, there is no business, there is no reason for Roman Reigns and the Usos to be taking up that much of the show. That's nearly 50% of the show's runtime, factoring commercials and all that. There's other things on the show. Like, the thing about it is, it's not Roman's SmackDown. He's the face of SmackDown, and he's great. But one of the reasons why other superstars are not taken seriously is because they don't get the same amount of airtime. They don't get the same amount of time to tell their stories, to do what they have to do. Why do you think the women's division has been so garbage since WrestleMania? Part of that is because Sasha Banks is not there, but it's because they're also not giving the women and some of the other superstars on the show time to tell stories. Right now, the women's division has been booked like the Divas era, where, Carmella and Liv Morgan get less than 10 minutes. Why? We know that they could give us 15 to 20 minutes because they're really good at their jobs. I've already said this. The WWE performers are not the problem with WWE. It's the creative staff and Vince McMahon. The superstars, they go out and they do their jobs well. But the thing about it is, they're not allowed to be themselves all the time because they're scripted to such a degree where their characters come off as cringe and we're not allowed to take them seriously because WWE doesn't allow us to take them seriously. They don't present them in a way for us to care. Why do you think Bianca Belair's championship reign has been so bad? It's not because Bianca sucks. It's because the way WWE present her sucks. And if you watch Bianca down in NXT, it's a far cry between the way her NXT character was presented and the way she's presented as the damn SmackDown Women's Champion. Bianca Belair is supposed to be one of the faces of the women's division. But people are texting me, and I see this. Bianca Belair looks like a Sasha Banks wannabe. When John Cena cut that promo on Roman Reigns where he says that Roman was nothing more than a John Cena bootleg? The Roman Reigns we have now as the tribal chief isn't that guy anymore. And it's great to see. But you see the way Bianca's presented right now. She's not given any time to tell her story with Bayley. There is no story with Bayley right now. And the way Bianca comes off is, it's like they want her to be Sasha Banks, and she's not Sasha Banks. And it's at the point now where I may have to make a separate video on this topic. Because I've noticed it, I've held my tongue, I've tried to be fair to it, but 2 months into Bianca's reign as champion, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. And, I don't blame that all on Bianca. I blame that mostly on creative. But the thing about it is, it also goes along with the fact is, the women's division, the tag team division, the IC championship division, and everything else falls short to Roman Reigns. Roman is the big thing about SmackDown, and he should be treated as the most serious thing on the show. We get that. But when you have his storyline take up 45 minutes of the show and everything else gets less than 10 minutes, it's going to hurt the show in the long run. As great as Roman Reigns is, why do you think the ratings are at a 1.8? Why do you think the ratings are so low? Why can't the ratings get above a 2? Because people are not watching the show because they don't care about anything else outside of Roman Reigns. As great as Bayley is, no one cares about Bianca versus Bayley. It's just the honest truth. Nobody cares about Seth Rollins and Cesaro. It's not a bad story, but nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about, and as great as Apollo Crews is as IC champion, as great as Kevin Owens is, as great as Sami Zayn is, nobody cares because they don't get time to tell their story. When they get 10-minute segments every single week, how are we supposed to sink our teeth into a story that doesn't even give us the amount of time to even read the opening chapter? Come on. Roman and the Uso storyline is great, but it shouldn't be taking up 45 fucking minutes of the show. It should be taking about 25 to 30 max, all segments included. You have that tag team championship match that takes up, the first 35 minutes of the show. Then you have Roman and the Usos have like 2 different backstage segments that take place in the next hour. And then you have them in the main event again. Come on. Do better. There's other parts of the show. Everything on SmackDown needs to be treated seriously with care. Not just Roman. As great as Roman is, you can't make him the only thing that's serious about this show. You can't. They did it during Sasha's reign as well. Even though Sasha Banks is so good that she can appear for 5 minutes and do what she has to do, and then boom, you're ready for whatever they have planned for next week. Still, not everyone on the show has that type of star power where they only have to be on screen for a certain amount of time to tell their story and get to the next week. You want people to be on the level of Sasha Banks and Roman Reigns, you have to give them the airtime so that we can get invested into them. You can't give everything to just Roman. Roman, sure, he can talk about how he's the face of SmackDown and how he carries this company on his back, because it's true to a certain degree. But that doesn't mean he's the only thing that gets any screen time or attention on this show. Give him 25 to 30 minutes to tell his story, not 45 to 50. Use those extra 15 to 20 minutes to tell other stories for other divisions, like Apollo Crews and Kevin Owens, like Bianca and Bayley, which has no fucking story, and they've been feuding for almost 2 months now. I want to care about everything else on SmackDown, but when you give them no airtime, when you're basically telling them, oh, we don't really care, that's why we're going to give them less than 10 minutes, why am I going to care as a fan of the product? It's that serious at the end of the day. So, as great as the Roman Reigns and Uso storyline is right now, it's hard for me to care about the rest of SmackDown, because that storyline gets too much time. And now on top of that, IW Nerd reported earlier today that the plan is for Roman Reigns to face Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell for the Universal Championship. I'm going to sit here and be honest with you guys. I don't care. I don't care. We saw a storyline like this when Rey Mysterio went up to face Brock Lesnar less than 2 years ago on SmackDown. Lesnar was the WWE champion. He was feuding with Cain Velasquez. And then Rey Mysterio got involved because of his relationship with Cain Velasquez. Dominic got involved as well. And then the match between Lesnar and Rey Mysterio, I believe it took place at Survivor Series that year, if I'm correct. Right? It was a great match. It was a great match. You know, they almost made you believe for a second that Rey was going to become WWE champion. I know when they hit that double 619 with the double splash, and Lesnar barely kicked out, I was like, damn, they really made me believe for a second that Rey was going to become WWE champion. I don't want to see that here with Roman. I'm sorry. We all know Roman's going to win. I'm not that interested into it. I care about the Usos versus Rey and Dominic because I want to see the Usos become SmackDown Tag Team Champions again, and I love the storyline with Roman. But now making the storyline, include Roman versus Rey Mysterio, I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. The match will probably be great because Roman's great. Rey Mysterio is still capable of putting on a banger match every single week. Rey is still good even at his older age. And I have no doubts that the match won't be great at Hell in a Cell. I'll enjoy it. But I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about this part of the story. I care more about the Reigns storyline with the Usos and the Usos trying to become SmackDown Tag Team Champions again. And Jimmy continuing to defy Roman while Jay continues to fall in line. I care about that dynamic. The image of Roman just beating down Dominic, right? While Jay is forced to sit there with his hands crossed because he is the right-hand man and he's pledged his allegiance to Roman as the tribal chief, right? As, Jimmy's looking on in disgust on the ramp. That was a great image to end SmackDown. It was great storytelling. I love it, and I can't wait to see where this goes. But now making it about Roman and Rey for the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell with less than 2 weeks of, actual build. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not really messing with it because I know that Rey's not going to win the title. I care more about us eventually getting a Roman versus Seth match if Seth turns babyface in the future, which is not happening now, of course, but still, that could happen. I care more about Roman versus John Cena, which needs to be the main event of SummerSlam. No doubts in my mind. I care more about a potential Roman versus Big E match. I care more about Roman versus Shinsuke Nakamura, if we could ever get that match. Or Roman versus Edge. Those are 5 matches that I care about right there. I just gave you guys 5 feuds that could help Roman, get to, a potential match with The Rock next year at WrestleMania if they want to go down that direction. But as of right now, Roman versus Rey Mysterio, I'm not really fucking with it. I'm not. I'll watch the match, but, if I'm being honest, I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it. Not really feeling it. There's other feuds that they could do for Roman right now that would be way more impactful than Roman versus Rey Mysterio at this point in time. We'll see what happens with the next 2 weeks. Because we have SmackDown this Friday, and then we have the Go Home show for Hell in a Cell next week. So we'll see what happens. But, this is me being honest. Yeah. But other things on SmackDown. Carmella's getting a push, right? Her and Liv Morgan had a decent little match, even though they should have got a little more time. I don't mind Carmella. She's not bad in the ring. I would love to see Liv Morgan get a singles run now, or a singles push. Now that she's alone, because Ruby Riott, her tag team partner, was released last week. I would love to see Liv Morgan get a push and potentially a SmackDown championship, or a SmackDown women's title opportunity in the future. Against Sasha Banks. I don't really... Look, you could do Bianca versus Liv, but I don't know if Bianca's capable at this time of carrying Liv Morgan to a great match. We'll see. But still, now that Liv's alone, I would love to see her get a babyface run, in that SmackDown women's division. But yeah, they could be setting Carmella up to have a championship opportunity against Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank. And, I expect Bianca to beat Bayley at Hell in a Cell. And, if the plan is for Bianca and Sasha to have their rematch at SummerSlam, I would do Bianca versus Carmella at Money in the Bank. It's a filler feud. And, this will be a test for Bianca. Is she able to carry somebody that's not as good as her? Because Bianca's only faced Sasha and Bayley so far. And Sasha and Bayley have carried Bianca to good matches. And as bad as Bianca's presentation has been, it would be interesting to see, is Bianca capable of putting on a good match with somebody that's not on her level? We're talking about in the ring. So that would be a test. So if they are setting up Carmella to challenge Bianca at potentially Money in the Bank after they wrap up this Bayley feud at Hell in a Cell, it's whatever. It's a filler feud, and it is what it is. If, it's just a little footnote to get us to the Sasha rematch that I know a lot of us are excited about. Yeah, we have a lot of people in the chat. I don't know, Dennis, are you telling me to shut up in the chat, or are you telling NBA YouTube to shut up? Because if you're telling me to shut up, we're going to have a conversation right now on air. So let's answer that question. I'll look in the chat in just a second. I just want to get some of these other thoughts I have. Look, we're already 40 minutes in and we haven't even talked about Raw yet. It's going to be a long stream. So you guys better slap that like button. All right, but what else happened on SmackDown? Look, Apollo Crews and Kevin Owens had a good match, but the match should have gone on longer. The match should have gone on longer. It's that simple. Kevin Owens got attacked by the commander, Apollo's, I forget his name. I just like to call him Dabakato, but you guys know who I'm talking about. I find it easier just to call him Dabakato when referring to him. But anyway, Kevin and Apollo had a decent match, but Kevin Owens, he got attacked by Dabakato backstage before the match, which, definitely gave the advantage to Apollo Crews, because remember, Apollo's bodyguard was not allowed to be at ringside for the match, so Apollo was able to get the clean win, but he did have the advantage because he was 100% fresh, and KO was attacked before the match even began. And after the match, Sami Zayn hit KO with a haluva kick. I don't know why this feud is still going. I'm not against it, because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they have fantastic chemistry in the ring together, but I just don't know why the feud is still happening. I thought the feud ended at WrestleMania. So why is this still going on? Why not move Sami Zayn on to something else? I don't know. You could have Sami Zayn feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, right? But yeah, I want to see KO. I personally want to see KO or Shinsuke Nakamura, one of those two, take the IC championship from Apollo. Apollo's great. I'm not gonna lie. Apollo is great right now. His gimmick, everything about him, he's great in the ring. He's doing fantastic with the gimmick. But I would love to see KO or Nakamura, one of those two, built up to take that title from him. Which, would be, me personally, I would have that happen a little bit later down the line. Maybe at SummerSlam, for example. That would be, the best place to have Apollo drop that title. But Apollo's doing great right now with the limited amount of time he gets on SmackDown. And we'll see if this, KO feud's going to continue. If they move on to something else, we'll see. There was no Big E on SmackDown because Big E was supposed to feud with Aleister Black, and then Aleister Black got released. So I don't know what you do with Big E right now. I pitched that you should build Big E up to challenge Roman Reigns at some point. But if you're going to give us if you're going to give us John Cena and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, Big E shouldn't be in the title picture then. So I don't know. Maybe you could also have Cesaro potentially take the IC championship off of Apollo. Like I said, WWE has so much talent on their shows that's, either not being used correctly or not being used at all, or they're in other things right now. It's just so much on the mind for, because there's so many superstars you have to think about, especially when you're doing podcasts like me. I'm always trying to figure out ways that everybody can be booked and used effectively on the show. But it's difficult. It's hard. It really is hard. So, I don't know. You could do Apollo versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Apollo versus Kevin Owens. You can do Apollo versus Cesaro. There's so many different things you could do. And I know Cesaro's still feuding with Seth Rollins, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you can do. I would have Big E feud with Seth Rollins right after this Cesaro and Seth Rollins feud should end at Hell in a Cell. So that's probably what I would do with Big E. I was kind of hyped to see where they would go with this Aleister Black story, but Aleister Black is released now, so we're clearly not gonna get anything else with that, and it's sad because I was hyped to see where they would go with this Aleister Black thing, but Big E, I don't know what you do to keep Big E busy, but as soon as the Seth Rollins and Cesaro feud concludes, I would do Big E versus Seth next. Me personally. I've been drinking a lot of water today. Whew, because it's so hot outside. Yeah. You know, Seth Rollins did, by the way, have an interview segment with Caleb Braxton, and he refused to really talk about the Cesaro situation. Plus, he wore another one of those horrific suits. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I was honestly like, what the fuck? Seth's outfits, man, you know, it's either hit or miss with those outfits every single week. One week it's great. Another week it's bad. This week it was bad. That was a terrible suit that he wore last week. Look, at this point, I don't really care about the story with Seth and Cesaro. I would just do the match in Hell in a Cell and end the feud. I'm kind of over it at this point, and I would move Seth on to a feud with Big E, and with Cesaro, I don't know. You could do Roman and Cesaro again if you want, but I'm not really with it. But look, like I said, there's just so much. There's just so much talent on SmackDown. It's hard to book them all. It truly is. What else was I gonna? Oh yeah, and before I talk about Bianca, and then, like, you guys already, that's all, you know. The last thing I want to say before I get to Bianca, I'm gonna look into this chat, because you guys already heard half of my Bianca rant. I wouldn't even call it a rant. I would more call it me trying to be actually objective about it. But, you know, I want to look at the chat real quick because I have been talking about SmackDown for a while. You guys are essentially getting a double review right now. I'm basically giving you a SmackDown review and a Raw review in one. And like I said, we're almost... How long have we been streaming now? We've been going at it now for... nearly 50 minutes, so nearly an hour, and we haven't even got to Raw yet. Jeez Louise. My golly. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't prepared for this. I was not prepared for this tonight. But I'm gonna look at the chat real quick. Just give me 1 sec. Give me guys a sec to look in the chat. Give me guys a sec here. All right, there's a lot of comments, so I'm just scrolling through them real quick. It's not the... Not the fucking point. Facts. I want to know. I got a question. JD says that he's playing... What's that game called? Guilty Gear and Finding. I've never played it before. But... Oh, no. He said Guilty Gear. My bad if I got the name wrong. What do you guys do... As I'm reading through the chat, what do you guys do when you guys are listening to the podcast? Like, me personally, when I'm listening to, like, JD from NY or any other podcast or, like, ESPN, right, I'm usually, like, playing a video game. Like, I'm either playing, like, Xenoverse or, I don't know, NBA 2K, whenever I have the time. I'm usually just, you know, I'm usually playing a video game. Well, I'm out of school right now since I graduated a couple weeks ago. But... when Yeah, I usually listen to my podcast when I'm gaming or or when I'm at the gym. So like, what do you guys do when you guys are listening to my like 1 hour, 2 hour streams? Let me know. You guys play like Sims 4? Like Rachel says Sims 4. So all right, let me get back. Like I said, let me read through this chat real quick. Golly, you guys said a lot. And look at, you guys gotta appreciate this too. There's a lot of YouTubers that when they stream, they don't look at the chat. I try to, look at every single comment. And also, man, I would say this too. This is why I need Anthony back. I really need, when Anthony comes in, I know he's never here, but when he is here, you guys gotta convince him to come back as my co-host. Cause it's tough. It's tough. If he was the co-host again, I could just, look at the chat while he rants and vice versa. Cause it's hard to podcast and look at the chat at the same time. I do agree with you, Paul. WWE just wanted them to main event Mania. They stopped caring. I do agree with that. And like I always say, that WrestleMania should have just been Becky versus Ronda. Charlotte should have never been in that match. But we all know, just look at the women's division after Becky won at WrestleMania 35. They stopped caring. Why do you think Sasha was gone for 4 months? She was depressed because of how bad the women's division was being booked. And she needed that break to get her mental health together. I do agree with what you said there, Paul. Well, I'll talk about Bianca in just a sec, guys. Paul says, "Read, damn it." Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to make this short, sweet, and to the point because we have to get to Raw. We're almost an hour in, and we haven't talked about Raw yet. And I'll probably, for those of you guys who are watching this after the stream, I'll probably put a note in the description. I usually don't. I almost never do timestamps, but just for tonight, I'll probably put, for those who just want the Raw review. I'll put probably like the Raw review starts shortly after the 1 hour mark. But that is true, NBA YouTube. If no, NBA YouTube. It's if Charlotte wins. If Charlotte wins, Anthony has to come back and do the review with me. That's what has to happen. All right. It's not if Rhea Ripley wins. It's if Charlotte wins. Paul says, I honestly rather have Charlotte be champion than Rhea. You may look. I do not like Charlotte, but Rhea Ripley is just the way Rhea Ripley is presented, and this goes right along with what I'm about to say with Bianca. The way Rhea Ripley is presented as the Raw Women's Champion is just so bad, so gross, so atrocious. It almost makes you want to see Charlotte as champion. Honestly, if it's up to me, I would wait for Becky to come back. I would have Becky take the title off of Rhea. Or Naomi. I would have one of those two names do it. Because they're not going to have Asuka do it. Because they've had Asuka... Excuse me. They've had Asuka lose to Rhea too many times already. And I don't want to see Charlotte as champion. Personally. But let me get to Bianca real quick. All right, I will say more about Rhea in a little bit, but let me get to Bianca's. Let me wrap up this, whatever you want to call this like mini SmackDown review, right? Look, we can debate and argue all we want about Bianca having to beat Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. Look. If that's what you guys believe should have happened, fine. Whatever. I give it to you. I don't want to talk about that anymore. You guys say that Bianca needed to beat Sasha at WrestleMania to become a true main event star. That's what you guys you know, say fine, whatever. I'm over at this point. It's whatever, right? But you cannot disagree with me that I told you this was gonna happen. You cannot disagree with me that I did not tell you that Bianca Belair was not going to be booked correctly as champion. We are 2 months into Bianca's reign, and more people either come to me, you know, on social media, or when I talk wrestling with them, the dialogue goes that they rather see Sasha regain that championship whenever Sasha returns, or Bayley take that title from Bianca. Bayley's not going to do it, because if they were going to have Bayley take the championship from Bianca, they would have already done it. They're not going to do it at Hell in a Cell. Bianca's going to beat Bayley at Hell in a Cell, and it's going to end the feud, right? It's way more likely, and even though I'm kind of against it, because I don't care about Sasha regaining the SmackDown Women's Championship. Well, I do care, but I care way more about Sasha getting a WrestleMania victory next year than anything else. I would rather Sasha not become champion again for a whole year if it meant her finally getting a legit WrestleMania victory next year at WrestleMania 37. Or not 38. Alright? Because I'm sick of it. I care about that more than anything. I care about that more than anything else. Look, you guys, some of you guys think just because I'm a Sasha Banks fan that I want to see her be a 20-time women's champion. No. I'd rather her have one reign that people remember for years and years to come, with matches and feuds that people are going to talk about, like Roman Reigns is doing right now as Universal Champion. I'd rather have Sasha have that type of reign with a credible, gigantic WrestleMania victory, right, that people are going to talk about for years to come, than see her be a 20-time champion where she wins a title just to drop it to Io Shirai or Bianca Belair just to build up the next star. And I know Sasha cares about wrestling. I know she cares so much about the future, right? And you know, the joy on her face of watching Bianca get that victory. But let's be serious. Ever since Bianca got that moment at WrestleMania, she has been presented horrifically. Bianca cut a promo on SmackDown, and I was when I heard the promo, I legit was just gonna make a 15-minute video just ranting about that. But I didn't. But Bianca said in that promo, you know, it got to the point where people were calling me mannish. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Bianca in NXT would never say some stupid shit like that. Bianca never cared what anybody thought of her. So why is Bianca Belair now in her promos bringing up what other people have said about her in the past, when she never made it when her character was being created in NXT? This is another example of how WWE does not understand how to book NXT talent, because they don't take the time to watch the talent in NXT. They just look at their appearance and that's it. It's horrendous booking. There's nothing else you can say about it. I'm gonna pull up Bianca's promo, just because why not? You know, but this is horrific. Look.
Peacock's got WWE Network exclusive from WrestleMania.
You know, let me put my volume up.
Backlash Live to the Undertaker's live.
Bayley, girl, you can't stay fresh your whole life, but if you are that committed, then...
All right, this is not the right... Well, it is the right one, but I need to find the one from WWE on Fox. I need the one from... Yeah. I'm going to grab the one for WWE's... from WWE on Fox's YouTube channel. The one on WWE's channel is a little more edited. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. I found it.
Now you know.
Oh, yeah, and before I play this promo, Paul, I got a question for you. Since we talk a lot, right? I'm going to ask you because I know you're watching. The way Bianca's been presented, because we debate this all the time, right? But in all seriousness, what's your thoughts on how Bianca's been presented since WrestleMania? And I'm asking you specifically, Paul, because I know you're in the chat. You know, so as I play Bianca's promo, I'm going to be looking for your response. How do you honestly think Bianca's been presented in the 2 months ever since he won the title at WrestleMania? But I'm going to play Bianca's promo now. Look, it's horrific. I hate this shit.
Ever since I beat Sasha Banks and won this title at WrestleMania, Bayley has been so pressed. But she hasn't done anything about it. I mean, the only thing that she's actually done is just laugh. Which you would think that the girl would actually realize that most of the WWE universe isn't laughing with her. They're actually just laughing at her. I mean, because what is so funny? But you know what? I'll admit it. Because that laugh, it's actually getting to me. Which is getting to me more than I actually thought it would, which is actually funny because do you really think that Bayley is the first person that's ever tried me? Girl. People have been trying to keep me down since I was 3 feet tall. People out there trying to make me shrink myself to soothe their insecurities. That's why people used to try to play them mind games with me. To try to make me second guess myself. Or I would hear people say, Bianca, you're doing too much. Bianca, you're a show off. Oh, let me not forget when people used to call me mannish because I was muscular and athletic. Mannish because I was muscular and athletic.
Bro, I like Bianca Belair. I shouldn't have to tell you guys that. My problem is the way she's presented. Her delivery here is excellent. The delivery and the emotion in her voice is fantastic. The fucking script, whoever's scripting these promos does not know the Bianca Belair from NXT. I'm honestly at the point now where we may have to do a bonus stream sometime in the future. I don't know when, but we may have to do a bonus stream in the future where we go and we look at Bianca and Charlotte. I mean, not Charlotte. We look at Bianca and Rhea Ripley's NXT promos. Like, we just spend a stream and I just react to old Bianca and Rhea Ripley promos from NXT. It might be a fun little bonus episode of the podcast. I'm actually considering doing it now. I probably will. Because at this point, Bianca's delivery here is fine. But the script is atrocious. And why does she look so much like Sasha Banks? Why? Like, what the hell? Why are they trying so hard to make her the new Sasha Banks? Let Bianca just be Bianca. If there's anybody that understands Bianca better than anybody, it should be Triple H and Bianca Belair. If anything, I would have Paul Heyman script Bianca's promos. Because whoever is scripting these promos is not doing the correct job. There is no way Bianca should be talking about people calling her mannish when in NXT, she never fucking ever brought up, her haters from the past. She just looked at them and just kept walking. Because that's how badass she was. Why are you bringing this up now? That's not character evolution. You know what that's called, people? Character regression. We talk about this all the time in anime. Character regression. Why are you regressing Bianca's character back? Why? Why is the story Bayley laughing at Bianca? Why? What the fuck is this?
But guess what? I left all those people in the dust as I won trophy after trophy and championship after championship. I have never had anybody laugh at me in my face. You know, that's utter disrespect. And I'm not standing for that. So you know what? This is what I propose.
Look, at this point, I honestly thought Bianca was going to challenge Bayley to a Hell in a Cell match. I thought. And I was like, why the hell is Bianca challenging Bayley to a Hell in a Cell match? If anything, I would have Bayley be the one to challenge Bianca to a Hell in a Cell match. Right? But, because when Bianca was like, this is what I propose, I was like, oh, no. Bianca's not at the point where she should be proposing Hell in a Cell matches. It should be Bayley, if anything. But that's me nitpicking, but whatever.
Bayley, girl, you can't stay pressed your whole life, but if you are that committed, then bet. I challenge you. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to take your cackling self and meet me in the ring at Hell in a Cell, and I promise you, you won't be laughing in.
Let's go. Bet good, says Bianca.
So Bayley, what's good?
Bet good, what good, says the EST of WWE. Bet good, what good, says the EST of WWE.
Come on, Bayley. We don't have all night. Come on. Are you going to accept my challenge or what? Are you going to accept my challenge or what?
Jam.
All right, I'm skipping through this because, look, I don't need.
On Fox,
Look, the Bayley laughing shit gotta go. Look, they've been feuding for 2 months and there is still no fucking story. As great as Bayley is, there's no story here. What, the story is Bayley's laughing at Bianca because what, Bayley doesn't recognize Bianca as the SmackDown Women's Champion because she still thinks Bianca is a rookie and is in over her head? Is that the story you're trying to tell? Look, as great as Bayley is, it's bad. It's bad, and the promo is bad. There's nothing else to say. And then they had Bayley appearing on all the screens and everything. Like, no, it's bad. It's bad. Look, and Paul, I saw your comment, you know. All right, like, look, I don't hate Bianca. I never have. I even, you guys know that I didn't think that she should have beat Sasha, but that's just me. It's whatever at this point. We can't change the past. But I've tried my best because I care about Bianca, and I definitely think she has the chance to be an all-time great. But the way she's presented, she's nowhere close to that. Pauls, you said earlier that it reminded you of Seth Rollins in 2019. And that might be a perfect comparison. The only difference is that Seth Rollins was way more established at that point in his career. Seth Rollins, but the thing about it is, the reason why we expected Seth Rollins to be such a great Universal Champion is because he was a great babyface and he had already been established as one of WWE's top stars. But they booked his reign pretty poorly. He had great matches with AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, but the second that they had Brock Lesnar come back with Money in the Bank, the second they had him go after the Raw Tag Team Championships with Braun Strowman while he was champion, Seth's reign just went. It started on such a high note, with that AJ Styles match and Money in the Bank, and then they had him feud with Baron Corbin, for all the summer. After that AJ Styles match at Money in the Bank, His reign just went like, shoo! And then there was like just a very small increase with the Lesnar match at SummerSlam, and then they just went swing. And then if they fucked him up to the point where people turned on Seth, and they actually wanted Seth to turn heel because they brought the Fiend into it and all that nonsense. Right? I'm just like, what the actual fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing here? I feel like more and more people are turning on Bianca by the day, and it's not Bianca's fault. It's because of the way Bianca's presented, and it's horrific. It's horrific, Look, and now look, Edward just said Bianca got to turn heel, because her babyface character have got to go. I'm telling you guys, you could Bianca, the way Bianca's being presented right now. People are going to want to see Sasha take that title back at SummerSlam. And as much as I want to see Sasha as champion again, I don't want to see it if it's going to mean that she's going to lose another match at WrestleMania. That's just my thing. But I don't know. I'm going to leave it at, I'm going to end my little Bianca's thing right there, because I'm probably going to do a bonus video on this eventually. I'm not going to say this week or make any promises, but, I think we're going to have to do a stream where we go back and we look at what made Rhea Ripley and Bianca so good in NXT, and compared to how they're being booked on on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown right now as the faces of those divisions. Because, I'm sorry, the way Bianca's being presented, I think she's going to drop that title to Sasha when Sasha comes back. All right? But Paul says, I wonder what the hell Sasha's doing right now. The Mandalorian Season 3 hasn't even... The Mandalorian Season 3 hasn't even started filming yet. I don't know. I don't know what Sasha's doing right now. Because WWE's not touring, and, they only wrestle once a week. So, I don't know what Sasha's doing. But the thing is, I don't mind Sasha not being on television. I don't. I don't want to see Sasha back until we have live crowds. That's my thing. I don't want to see Sasha back until we have live crowds. Paul, I agree with you 100%. I don't want to see Sasha go in the Mania as champion, because it's going to be likely that she's just going to lose. Because WrestleMania is where WWE wants people to be champions. That's where WWE wants, new champions. We know that. It's a theme at WrestleMania every year where we see bunches and bunches of new champions. I don't want Sasha to go in as champion. If she beats Bianca, I'm going to be happy, and then I'm going to be sad at the same time, because I know where this is going to lead. Unless, Sasha holds that title for, like JD says, longer than 250 days. So she gets like an AJ Lee title reign, where she gets a long title reign, plus she gets a WrestleMania defense on that record. And then if you want Sasha to lose the title shortly after WrestleMania, say at Backlash or Money in the Bank or whatever, that's, I'm fine. I'm completely fine with that. But I do not want to see Sasha win the championship at SummerSlam. I don't want her beating Bianca if it's going to mean Sasha's just going to lose the title later down the line at WrestleMania. It's that simple. It is that simple. All right? But yeah, that's about all I'm going to say right now on the whole Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks situation. Now we can finally get to Raw. I know you guys are so excited. So excited to finally talk about Raw, because I am, right? This show was great. Says nobody ever. Look, Raw is garbage. Raw is garbage. Look, we're an hour and 15 minutes into the stream, and we haven't even talked about anything on Raw until right now. That tells you all you really need to know about this show. It's bad. And the worst thing about it is, next week we have the debut of Evolution. Or not evolution. Evolution. The countdown has begun, guys. The countdown has begun. Eva Marie made it official tonight that next week on Raw, she will be making her debut. Or not her debut, her return. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know? Corey Graves on commentary tonight, he was like, I'm so excited. Does my hair look nice? What do I wear? Bro. Look, Eva Marie, based on what we heard, you know, she's not going to wrestle. And then also, she's not going to have... WWE wants to put her with a bodyguard, a muscle. They want her to have some kind of muscle with her. Look, bro. This is a failure before it already begins. Next week's Raw review. I already know the title. Evolution. Or not Evolution. Evolution. Makes its horrific debut. That's most likely going to be the Monday Night Raw review title for next week's stream. I'll probably pre-make it right after I'm done here. I'm being 100% serious, guys. You know, the evolution, bro. It's gonna be a long week. Let me find my notes. Let me go to Bleacher Report real quick. Look, this show was bad. Outside of RK Bro, I don't think there was anything of substance on this show. Nothing. I didn't mind the contract signing with Drew and Bobby, but there was nothing of substance on this show, really. But luckily, yours truly watches the show and suffers through it so that you guys don't have to. You guys get your 3 hours of Raw in the podcast every single week. So you guys are welcome for that. Anyway, let's get to it. So, Raw started off tonight with a tag team battle royal. So, basically, RK Bro, The New Day, the Viking Raiders, Mason T-Bar, Lince Dorado, because Lince Dorado was by himself, but Grand Metalik, because Grand Metalik, Dorado's partner, is out with an injury, and John Morrison representing Miz and Morrison, because, you know, Miz was in a wheelchair tonight because Miz is recovering from, I believe, an MCL strain. So, like, I got a huge bug bite on my leg. They all fought in a battle royal. So technically, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in this battle royal. 6 teams. So that's not a terrible division right there. It's not. Could be a little bit better, but for Monday Night Raw standards, that's an actual tag team division. Plus, you have AJ and Almas, which makes 7. If you had Elias and Jason Riker still together, you know, and if you had Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander still together, that would be nearly a 10-team division. But Raw doesn't care, or WWE in general doesn't care about tag teams anymore. But the fact that you had more than 5 teams out there for this battle royal, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised, and I was like, okay, at least you have somewhat of a tag team division on the show for the first time in ages, it feels like. But AJ cut a promo on all the tag teams. Basically, you know, he cut a promo on the New Day. I didn't really like this too much because, look, as much as I understand the New Day and they're an all-time great tag team and all that good stuff, right? Kofi, you know, just had an amazing match with Drew McIntyre last week. I said it. For those of you guys who did not watch Raw last week, I told you guys, go back and watch the Kofi and Drew McIntyre match. Find it online. It was fantastic. It was one of the best TV matches on WWE television all year. In my opinion, Kofi versus Drew, and I still feel like it. You know, I still feel this way 1 week later. Kofi versus Drew last week on Raw was better than Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship on SmackDown a couple months ago. Woo. And over the week, I read that everyone backstage was talking about that match. So I knew that I wasn't the only person that was high on that match. Kofi and Drew last week was fantastic. And it kind of got me pissed off that even though I understand Kofi is in a tag team, he's in the New Day, right? It pissed me off that just last week, he's in the main event fighting for a shot to go compete for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. And now a week later, he's back, going after the Raw Tag Team Championships. It reminded me way too much of when Kofi lost to Brock Lesnar 2 years ago on SmackDown, when Lesnar took the WWE Championship from Kofi, and then he was fighting for the SmackDown Tag Team titles a week later. I'm just like, really? Kofi should be in the fucking main event scene. But even though that did piss me off to start the show, WWE did do something with Kofi a little bit later on that does get me at least intrigued and curious for Kofi's future on Raw. And I'll talk about that in just a sec, right? But, excuse me. So AJ and Almas, they cut their promo on all the Raw tag teams, right? When they got to RK Bro, you could see that, things got amped up a little bit. Orton cut Styles off, and then Riddle cut Randy off, and then he started talking about Burger King and Whoppers and all these other things, RK Bro, now that they're an official team, they got merged in the WWE shop, right? I don't know, those t-shirts look kind of cool. But, they were talking about all this stuff. And basically, Randy Orton shushes Riddle up, and he basically has like this imaginary key, and he tells Riddle to zip it, and he throws the key out of the ring. So it's like Riddle, it makes you. It was funny because it's like Riddle is Randy Orton's bitch, right? Whenever Randy tells Riddle to shut up, Riddle just shuts up. But the dynamic between Orton and Riddle is so entertaining that I just love it. I love it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle are the best thing on Monday Night Raw right now. Their gimmick, their interactions, and the way they function as a team is so enjoyable. And when they eventually face AJ and Almas, it should be treated as a big deal. And me personally, I would save it for SummerSlam. I know I said that they should do it at Money in the Bank, but at this point, after tonight, I honestly feel like it should be more saved for SummerSlam. Orton and Riddle, it's great. It's great. Okay? So, Miz, like I said, Miz came out in a wheelchair. He was wearing this white suit with a black and red. It didn't really match. I was like, Miz. Because most weeks, Miz looks fly. But, the color scheme just didn't work for his suit tonight. Miz, in the wheelchair, announced that Morrison would be fighting on behalf of both members of the team in the Battle Royal. Like, same thing I said about Liz Dorado. And then we got the match itself. Then we got then we got the match itself. And, it wasn't a terrible Battle Royal. It wasn't terrible. Most Battle Royals in WWE are awful, but this wasn't bad. Everyone teamed up to take out Mason T-Bar at the same time. Like I said, I could definitely see maybe later on this year. I'm thinking maybe sometime in the fall. Let's just say Randy Orton and Matt Riddle win the Raw Tag Team Championships like at SummerSlam, right? Later this summer. I would build up Mason T-Bar to be the ones that take those titles from Orton and Riddle sometime this fall. That's still a long ways away, but that's me, booking more in the future. Something WWE should be doing way more often. But everyone teamed up to take out Mason T-Bar at the same time. And basically, it was the Viking Raiders versus the New Day versus Orton and Riddle. And, after a bunch of eliminations, right, Riddle saved Orton from getting eliminated by Kofi Kingston. So then Orton took Kofi out. But the Viking Raiders worked together to take Orton out, and they won the match. And this was actually a good decision. The Viking Raiders, even though sometimes they're cringe on Monday Night Raw, the Viking Raiders are an established tag team in the Raw Tag Team division. I like the Viking Raiders, right? They are the perfect team to face AJ and Almas in the bridge before we get to Randy Orton and Riddle challenging AJ and Almas for those tag team championships. The perfect team. We know that AJ and Almas are not going to lose those titles to the Viking Raiders, but it's an interesting feud, and it could be actually a really good match, you know, because the Viking Raiders have a way different style than the New Day, you know, and it may be a style that forces Almas to actually do more than what he usually does in the matches with when he teams with AJ. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I could definitely see this match most likely taking place at Hell in a Cell. But, yeah, most likely, because you're going to have one tag team championship match on that show. Because if Ray's going to be facing Roman, I don't think they're going to have Ray also defend the SmackDown tag team championships with Dominic in the same night against the Usos. So if they want to do this match on Hell in a Cell, they can, you know. Or maybe they choose to do it on Monday Night Raw in the next couple weeks. I don't know. But the Viking Raiders being the one that's to challenge AJ and Almas for the Raw Tag Team Championships before we get to RK Bro is 100% the right decision. 100%. So I'll give WWE credit in that regard. You know, after the match, the Viking Raiders backstage, the Viking Raiders backstage were excited about their championship opportunity, but AJ and Almas came over to talk to them. So, you know, kind of setting the little pillars for this feud. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see if they can make it interesting. But definitely, I have no problem with this being the match before we get to RK Bro. So I'll play the promo real quick before we get to the next segment.
Tag Team Championship.
Whoa, yes!
And you know what that means?
Yeah!
Ray! Ray! You know, I am getting so hungry right now.
Let's go feast.
Turkey legs, they're on me.
Yeah. You mean like that kind of turkey leg?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope you guys weren't saving that for your victory or anything. I mean, I admit, I don't know anything about Vikings. Do you know anything about Vikings, almost?
We can teach you.
Well, listen, guys. I'm sorry. You just, to us, you're wannabe Vikings, right? You're not really Vikings. Even though, yeah, like, I mean, you don't use electricity, right? Mirrors. Deodorant? Oh,
Look,
my God.
look, the way that I live honors the Vikings who came before me. And if you have a problem with that, AJ, then you and I, we've got a problem.
You see that, Omos? That's why Vikings don't exist, right there. I want one of those turkey legs. Where'd you get that?
So you have Almas eating the turkey leg, right? While AJ taunts the Viking Raiders that they're not actual Vikings. So I kind of like where this is going. You know, we'll see where it goes in the next couple weeks. But this is good. This is actually good. You know, actually an improvement for the Raw Tag Team division. Paul says fuck John Mark. He hates him so much. That's hilarious. Okay. Moving on. We had Elias versus Jackson Riker, and this was bad. Look, I'm not a fan of Elias and Jackson Riker. I never was. But as a tag team, look, I'm always saying it's better to have them, in the tag team division if you're not going to use them correctly. It's really that serious. It's really that simple. I don't know why I said serious there, but yeah, it's really that simple, right? Because Elias and Jackson Riker, they have the appearance of a tag team, and even the more tag teams you have, the better, because you need those filler feuds when people are not in the championship picture. We don't know that. And I'm not a fan of Elias as a single star. He's kind of generic. He's not that special. And he's been doing the same gimmick now for close to half a decade. And, you know, if it hasn't gotten over at this point, it's never going to get over. Elias is, in my opinion, Elias is never really going to get to that next level on Monday Night Raw. He's not. Let's be honest with ourselves. He's not going to get there. So, Elias is over here giving this speech, right, about why he had to leave Jackson Riker. You know, basically, because he believed, even though Jackson Riker had the look of a warrior and all that, he didn't believe Riker was ever going to go into battle with him. Whatever. Like, you know, what? Who cares? All of a sudden, Riker attacks Elias, and then Elias and Riker have a match. And the thing is, Riker has this whole new look about him, right? He cut his hair. I think he shaved his beard as well. I don't know. Who cares? And I'm just like, really? Are you trying to actually make me believe in a Jackson Riker babyface run? Are you kidding me? There's still a bunch of people calling for Jackson Riker to be released because of those comments he made back when we had the election with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Right? You are never, ever going to make me into a Jackson Riker fan. I'm sorry. No. I would much rather that Elias and Riker had stayed as a heel tag team than ever, you know, have to get behind a fucking Jackson Riker babyface run. I did not pay attention to this match at all. At all. You know? So I was like, you know, honestly, I was not paying attention to the match. What happened is, basically Riker dominated the match. Elias got a little bit of offense in, but eventually at the end, Elias ran away from the fight to give Riker a countout victory. So I don't know. Look, there's nothing you can make me. There's nothing you can do to make me believe in a fucking Jackson Riker babyface turn. You released Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, but Jackson Riker still has a job. Think about that for a second, guys. Talent like Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, guys that could be singles champions in WWE on the main roster, they get released, but Jackson Riker stays. I don't know. Sorry. No. I will never fucking care about a Jackson Riker babyface run. Look, we're just going to move on. Move on, man. It's tone deaf. I guarantee you when we get back to live crowds here in a month, right? People are going to be like, no one's going to cheer for fucking Jackson Riker. Nobody. What? What? No. Paul says, them releasing Jackson, or them releasing Aleister Black is beyond me. Look, the fact that out of all the releases, I didn't really care much. I was shocked. Like I said this in my video. I was shocked that Braun Strowman got released, but I was pissed that Aleister Black got released. I was pissed because I loved Aleister Black, especially in his NXT days, man. And look, Paul, we may have to do a Discord stream where we just watch some Aleister Black NXT classics at some point, man. Remember when he was booked correctly and he was great? Because I'm telling you, man, the fact that, you know, you're trying to make me believe in a Jackson Riker babyface run and Aleister Black was never booked correctly as a babyface on this roster, I don't get it. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But still, like I said, when we get back to live crowds, Jackson Riker's not going to get any reaction from the babyface art or from the WWE universe. He's not. Nobody's going to care about him. I don't know why he wasn't released with all those other superstars. That's beyond me, man. Anyway, let's get back to it. What was next on this show? Oh, yeah, so we had the contract signing. with McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. So, McIntyre came out right before the 9 o'clock hour. And, you know, Lashley was nowhere to be found when his music began to play. So McIntyre said that they didn't need to wait for him, and he told a story about Robert the Bruce, and it was, you know, it was a pretty good story. I have to remind myself that McIntyre says the way he's presented on WWE TV as a babyface is not to be Superman, right? He's not trying to be like Roman Reigns was when Roman was a babyface for all those years. Remember, we hated the way Roman was presented on WWE TV. It's one of the reasons why Roman, the way he's presented now as a heel, is so great. Because the Roman we're getting now is the way Roman should have been booked for all those years. McIntyre says he's more like Batman, a good guy who struggles. Even though he has all the abilities, he's super strong, right? You know, he still struggles. That's the kind of guy he wants his character to be. And I can appreciate that. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Even though I did enjoy this contract signing for the most part, I'm so over Drew McIntyre being in the WWE Championship scene. My hope is that the plan will be that McIntyre... My hope is that the plan will be that McIntyre loses the Lashley clean at Hell in Cell in the Hell in a Cell match, and then when, you know, I don't know, you could find something to keep Drew busy for the next 2 months. I don't know what it is, right? But then after SummerSlam, Drew can get moved to SmackDown in the WWE draft. And then if you want to do Drew versus Roman, no one's going to complain about that. That would be fantastic. We all know after their amazing Survivor Series match, you know, people want to see more of that. I would love to see more Drew versus Roman. But, you know, I'm over Drew McIntyre being the WWE title picture. It's Bobby Lashley's time. And you know, I'm nervous. If I'm being honest, I'm nervous that McIntyre is going to win at Hell in a Cell. Especially with the, you know, the circumstances surrounding this match. Because it's not just about the WWE Championship. So, I'm going to play the promo for you guys.
Writing's not
like I
that
said,
easy,
this is a good contract
Grammarly
signing.
Can help.
But
This
I'm just personally
grammatically
over
correct.
McIntyre being the WWE title picture. So it's, you know, it's just like if he was gonna regain that title already, he would already regain it. Him winning it at Hell in a Cell, right? It's gonna make me more angry because I want Lashley to hold on to that title, you know, for most of this year. I want my Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam, and I know you guys want that as well. So I'm gonna play the promo here. Let's get into it.
Let's make this official. Give me that contract.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Downshift, lad. Before any pens get put to any paper, there's some business that must be discussed. Adam, Sonya, on behalf of the almighty WWE Champion, I apologize. The champ was tied up being fashionably late. DJ KD, please hit the champion's music, shall we?
I'll say this, man. Look, I love Lashley. He's a bro, man. Like I said, Lashley needs his own suit line. I will buy these suits. I really am. I will buy those suits. You know, you guys don't know what I do in my personal life. I am a bit, you know, I do work in sports and business, so like I said, I could definitely use some suit upgrade. So last year, this fly black, Bobby had this fly black suit tonight with like a gold and black tie that matches the WWE Championship. He looked great. He looked great, man. And he looks great every single week. You know, I need a Bobby Lashley suit line.
Music, shall we?
The almighty WWE champion operating on his own time.
Allow me to congratulate you on manipulating your way into once again facing the almighty WWE champion at Hell in a Cell. Adam, it is okay that we're out here, right? I mean, you're not gonna threaten us with another 90-day suspension without pay, are you? Because the almighty and myself last week, we held up, are you? Because the almighty and myself last week, we held up our end of the bargain. From bell to bell,
we were in Lashley's lounge and enjoying the company of our acquaintances. So, I have a question for you. How will you reward the almighty champion for his compliance? What was it that you wanted, champ?
Drew, once you lose to me at Hell in a Cell, you won't get another championship match against the Almighty ever again.
And if I may add, the Almighty plans on being WWE champion for a very long time. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about it this morning. He can't wait to bring the WWE championship back on the road, out to the almighty universe.
Drew McIntyre will never fight Lashley for the WWE Championship again if I lose. And I'm gonna need something from you, champ. I want a match where no outside interference can cause the finish. I want a match where nobody else can lose on my behalf. I want Lashley versus McIntyre for the WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell.
The almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley accepts your terms.
So it's official?
Hold on a second. Inside Hell in a Cell, Drew's last opportunity at the championship. Looks good. Do me a favor.
Make sure that's notarized.
Initial here at the X. Sign at the bottom.
Adam, you will have that notarized, right? Because our attorneys will make sure.
It will be official.
You know, Drew, that story you told earlier, you know, the one about the spider? It's kind of admirable that you're getting back to your Scottish roots. But what you fail to understand and what you fail to tell the people how that story ends. If at first you don't succeed, you just don't win against the Almighty. And in reality, you accept defeat and you tuck your little kilt in between your legs and you walk away in shame. That's how this story is going to end.
Okay. Bobby's delivery here is great, man. I didn't really notice those, you know, those normal pauses that he makes when he's talking. Bobby, and he made his point fast, simple, and to the point. Great stuff here from Bobby Lashley. Great stuff. Looking like a champion. Quick delivery. I love it. I love it. Here's my thing. I'm nervous. The big thing that I'm nervous about is not that this match is taking place in Hell in a Cell. It's how. Because if you follow the storyline here, yes, Bobby has been able to remain WWE champion these last couple months. Especially since Drew McIntyre. We know how good Drew is. But the thing about it is, Drew's still the babyface here. And remember, most of the time, especially in pro wrestling, the babyface ends up the winner at the end of the day. It's rare that the heel gets away from the babyface, right? And Drew has struggled to regain that WWE championship in the last 3 or 4 months. He lost at WrestleMania, you know, even though it was technically clean, but it was because MVP distracted McIntyre, right? And that's why McIntyre said, I want a match with no outside interference. So there's nothing that MVP can do on the outside of the Hell in a Cell to distract him from just focusing on Bobby Lashley. He also said no one can lose on his behalf. Remember, before Braun Strowman got released, we had the triple threat match at WrestleMania Backlash, where Drew was not pinned. It was Lashley. And it wasn't Lashley, it was Strowman. And we all know Strowman was pinned to protect McIntyre because we knew that WWE was planning on doing a Hell in a Cell match with Lashley and McIntyre. So, now there's no outside interference. It's not a multi-man match. It's Hell in a Cell. It's Lashley. It's Drew. Inside the Hell in a Cell, who is the better man? Who is going to walk out as the most ferocious man on Monday Night Raw? Who's going to walk out WWE champion? And it's going to be a great match. I know it's going to be. Lashley and McIntyre always deliver. No matter if it was at Backlash last year, no matter if it was at WrestleMania this year, no matter if it was at WrestleMania Backlash a couple weeks ago, these two always deliver. Doesn't matter how sick of the story we can be. It doesn't matter how sick we can be of all the championship opportunities McIntyre gets. It's going to be a fantastic match. And I enjoyed this contract signing. Not everyone does. Some people thought it was boring. For the most part, I enjoyed it. But I am nervous that McIntyre is going to win. And I love Drew McIntyre. He's one of my favorites. But it's Bobby Lashley's time. McIntyre will be a world champion again. I'm convinced of that. I know he'll be world champion again. But now's not the time for that. It's time for McIntyre to move on to something else. That something else should be SmackDown. That something else should be going after the Universal Championship, in my opinion. I'm not saying McIntyre needs to become the Universal Champion, but that's what you should be doing. That's what you should be doing. Lashley needs to retain at Hell in a Cell no matter what. I don't care what happens at Hell in a Cell as long as Lashley retains. I feel like I'm a broken record saying that because I said it at WrestleMania. I said it at WrestleMania Backlash, and here I am saying it again here for Hell in a Cell. As long as Lashley retains, that's what matters. Because my hope and my prayer is that we're going to get Lashley and Lesnar at SummerSlam. That's what I want, and that's what we all want. And that's what we should be getting.
Prayers are going to go unanswered and what you believe in, but I don't know, man, what you believe in, but start praying. Those prayers are going to go unanswered, but you will beg me for mercy, and I will grant you mercy with a claymore right between your eyes when I take back my WWE Championship. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, and I'll see you in hell.
And I will beat you there also.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to see Drew win at Hell in a Cell, but that was great. That was great. He was like, I don't know what you believe in, but you better start praying, because I'm gonna grant you mercy with a Claymore kick. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that was badass. I'm gonna replay that because I want to hear it again. That was a badass promo by McIntyre. And then lastly, with the response saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna meet you at Hell, but I'm gonna beat you there too." Great stuff here between Bobby and Drew.
Confident
in your eyes when I for mercy, and I don't know, man, what you believe in, but start praying. Those prayers are going to go unanswered, but you will beg me for mercy, and I will grant you mercy with a claymore right between your eyes when I take back my WWE Championship. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, and I'll see you in hell.
And I will beat you there also.
Out there. There was a Scottish king called Robert the Bruce. When he was king, Scotland was still enslaved. He lost a couple of big battles in his first year and he had to go into hiding. He was a hunted man. He would have been killed on sight, and he spent 3 months inside a cave. One day inside this cave, he was looking up at the roof. He saw a little spider. It was trying to fashion itself a little web. It was damp inside that cave, and it just couldn't get the web to stick. It kept falling, it kept failing, but it kept getting back up and trying over and over and over again. And he sympathized with it because he could relate, but at the same time he said, "Give up, buddy. It's never going to work out for you," until it did. Finally, that web stuck. The spider made itself a nice little home, and the Bruce said to himself, "I'm going to try one more time." He assembled his army. He was outnumbered 10-1, and in 1314 at Bannockburn, he won Scotland's freedom. There's a famous quote that he said to his army right before that battle, he said, if at first you don't succeed, try... Actually, I can probably modernize it, make it more applicable to this situation. If at first you don't succeed, beat Lashley's ass at Hell in the Cell and win back your championship. Officials, let's make this official. Give me that contract. And I'm gonna need some McIntyre for the W.
We all saw the eyes of the Scot. What the hell? He's got a sword!
Kidding me?
Look, look, man. I'm a Dragon Ball fan. You guys know this. When Lashley, or not Lashley, when McIntyre takes the sword and he does freaking slices it through the table, that was badass. It reminded me of Future Trunks slicing Frieza in DBZ. So, look, I liked it. I like it. All right, but yeah, man, I like the contract signing. I like the intensity from McIntyre. Good stuff from Bobby Lashley. But Lashley has to retain. I'm sorry, but it has to happen. I will not. We have to get Lashley versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. We have to. I also got to say this just because Jimmy Smith, this was his second week on commentary. I'm liking him more and more by the week. He's so much better than Vink. He's understanding these characters. It's like he actually does his homework. He's understanding these characters, what makes them tick, what they're all about, and his voice goes with the action very, very well. I'm enjoying Jimmy Smith a lot on the Raw commentary team. And he actually makes Byron Saxton a little more bearable to listen to. Tom Phillips, hell no. Vink, fuck no. But Jimmy Smith makes it much more easier to listen to Byron Saxton. And, as he gets better, maybe I'll, grow to not hate Byron Saxton so much as a commentator. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that really quick as a little side note. Moving on, we had Ricochet versus Humberto Carrillo. This was a #1 contenders match for the United States Championship. We know that Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo have been causing a lot of trouble for Sheamus the last couple weeks. And the big thing is, if you guys didn't see on social media, some people thought this was just for story, but no, actually, Humberto Carrillo legitimately broke Sheamus's nose last week on Raw. Sheamus had emergency surgery this week, and he was wearing a mask. He was very unhappy. And I do like how the WWE took something that happened in real life and made it part of a storyline. Because, we know how hard the WWE superstars hit each other. Accidents happen in the ring. I know for a fact Humberto did not mean to break Sheamus's nose. Sheamus knows that, right? But it happened, and we all saw it on live TV. And the fact that Sheamus had emergency surgery this week, and the fact that they made it into a storyline with him wearing the mask now, and how angry and pissed off he was at ringside, was great. Was great. And you guys know I love Sheamus. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Sheamus deserves one more world title run in the future. He is that good. He is that good. And so basically, like I said, Sheamus came out with the mask tonight, and the winner, of course, would get a United States Championship opportunity against him. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but they didn't strip him of the title, and you got to give Sheamus credit. He could easily had just relinquished the U.S. title and then just get it back when he came back. He probably would. They would have easily had him beat Ricochet or Humberto for the title. But the fact that he's going to continue competing with a broken nose over the next couple of weeks while that thing recovers, because there's a chance it could be re-broken for all we know. You never know. But the fact that Sheamus is still out there, that he's still choosing to remain on TV, that's some MVP type shit right there. Because he doesn't have to. But I got to give Sheamus credit for that. But Sheamus at ringside, he was complaining about having to face either one of them after what happened to him last week. But Ricochet and Humberto, this was a great match. Great match. We know how good both Ricochet and Humberto are. You know, and they really showcased this on tonight. This was a high-flying battle. A lot of use of their agility and athleticism. You know, Carrillo hit a beautiful Spanish fly from the apron to the floor at one point, right? But because the spot was so brutal, neither man could beat the 10 count back to the ring. So, basically right now, Sheamus does not have an opponent or a number one contender. We'll see where this goes. You know, they could easily have it when Sheamus is back healthy. They could do a triple threat match. Maybe Sheamus faces each one of them. Maybe he faces Ricochet first and then deals with Humberto later. Because you know Sheamus is going to want to get payback on these two. Because remember, WWE made the stupid decision of having Sheamus lose the both men last week. You know, and I don't see, and even though I wouldn't really mind it, I like Ricochet, right? But, you know, I don't see Sheamus losing the U.S. title to either one of these men. I don't. So, we'll see what happens going forward. I think the most likely direction is this is going to turn into a triple threat match. But, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see going forward.
Peacock's got WWE Network exclusively. From WrestleMania Backlash Live to The Undertaker's Last Ride. Plus fan favorite shows and films you know. That's why you can't not watch.
Look, Sheamus just... That's it! To the end! Yeah, isn't that right, Sheamus? That's great. Oh my God! Spanish fly to the outside!
Wow!
Both trying to get up and back into the ring. Ricochet has the corner. Can he do it? That's it! The result of this match is a draw. I think it's safe to say Sheamus dodged a bullet here tonight. Nope.
Shameful, shameful, shameful. I'm the only one wearing the mask.
I love it. I love that Sheamus just walked away in disgust. And then they draw. That's funny. That's funny. Watch this probably get a rematch next week. Anyway, next up we had Jeff Hardy versus Cedric Alexander. We don't see Jeff Hardy a lot these days, right? And this is just another example of WWE having way too much talent. You know, Jeff Hardy can go months without being used on WWE television and you really wouldn't blink an eye. Because WWE has so much talent that you forget, you know, how much talent they have in the back wings and catering. So, Hardy cut a little bit of a promo beforehand, how there's no respect for veterans in the locker room. This coming mainly from Shelton Benjamin and everything, you know, the abuse he's had to take from Cedric Alexander over the last month. So, Hardy was echoing that in this match with Cedric Alexander. Alexander called Hardy a former great in a pre-match promo, and the match wasn't bad. Like I said, Hardy can still put on good matches with the right people. It's just that as a character, he's just not that interesting to me anymore. There's really, like, the storyline they did with Sheamus last year, you know, with Hardy and the addiction and all that, it was all right. It wasn't terrible, but at this point in Hardy's career, you know, how many more storylines can you do with him that you can actually get intrigued with? He can still put on a good match, but I'm just, as a character, I'm just not that interested in him anymore. All right? But we'll see, you know. I know that he's been saying for a long time when they get back to live crowds, he's going to bring back his old theme song. I feel like that's really the only big thing that people are still interested about when it comes to Jeff Hardy. You know, if we have that first Raw in July with live fans again and he brings out his old theme song, you can see the writing on the wall. Your way over your head. Time is coming. You guys know the song. Whatever. I'm going to stop singing. But anyway, you know, I feel like that's the only thing that's keeping Hardy relevant now. People waiting for him to bring back his old theme song when we get back to live crowds. You know, so we'll see. But this match wasn't bad. It wasn't a terrible match. I was actually surprised that Hardy got the win here because, you know, I felt like they were going to have more Alexander just beating down on these old veterans. And they could actually kind of make this into a cool little storyline here for Alexander. Alexander, you know, going after, you know, all the veterans and trying to prove to them that they don't belong with somebody with his talent and his caliber. I feel like that would be a good storyline for Alexander going forward. And something that could help him get over in the long run. But they had Hardy win the match. Here in the middle part, Alexander hit Hardy jumped from the second rope to hit a double axe handle to the back of the neck. Alexander hit a back elbow to gain control, you know, and he kept Hardy grounded for the most part. Alexander hit a low drop kick and a suplex for a 2 count, and then Hardy dropped him with a twist of fate before hitting the Swanton Bomb for the win. So I would not be surprised if we see this match again next week with Alexander getting his win back. Maybe they try to make this into a little mini series. Like I said, if WWE wants to, they can, you know, make this into a little bit of something. I would have much rather had Alexander and Shelton Benjamin never be broken up as a tag team, but since that's in the past now, it's just now Alexander. You could do this in the thing where Alexander becomes like a veteran killer. You know how Randy Orton was the legend killer, right? Maybe have Alexander be the veteran killer or something like that, where he just goes after all the veterans in the locker room and tries to prove to them that they don't belong with, you know, the new talent, somebody that is in his prime like him. And, you know, it would be something cool for Alexander. I don't know. So if someone from WWE ends up listening to this, I feel like they should do that. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. You know, do you guys think that would be a good storyline for Alexander going forward? Or am I way in over my head? But either way, man, good match here with Hardy and Alexander. And, yeah, that's about it. We had Asuka and Nikki Cross versus Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. This is what I'm talking about when I bitch and moan about the way people are presented on WWE TV. Oh, I got a text for someone. Anyway, like I said, like I said, this is what I'm talking about when Rhea Ripley is presented. This is some stupid horse shit. So, look. So, backstage, Rhea and Charlotte are arguing because both want to get payback on Nikki Cross because both of them lost to Nikki Cross in Beat the Clock challenges. Okay, that's understandable. I understand that a little bit. So, Adam Pearce, as the WWE official, he comes by and he suggests that both team up against Nikki Cross, not in a handicap match, but in a match where Nikki Cross could select her own partner. You know? Look, even though that's, on one hand, that makes sense for Adam Pearce because that's his job. His job is to make matches, right? And Charlotte is going on like, oh yeah, as the example and all that, I'm going to, you know, lead my team tonight and we're going to get the win. All right, but Rhea Ripley looks like a dumbass here because Charlotte has been trying to embarrass her for weeks. You know, Rhea Ripley could have just said, no, I don't want to team up with Charlotte. I'm going to face her in 2 weeks anyway. And knowing Charlotte, she's interfered in my matches in the past. And clearly she could do, you know, she could easily turn her back on me, betray me in numerous different ways, in a way that's going to give her an advantage going into Hell in a Cell. So if I'm Rhea Ripley here, I'm not agreeing to tag team with Charlotte just because Adam Pearce made the suggestion. No, I'm not. And even if I'm forced into the match, I'm going to make sure I don't get screwed by Charlotte Flair. I would be more worried about Charlotte Flair betraying me as a tag team partner than actually Nikki Cross. But Rhea Ripley, like a dumbass, accepts being her partner, right? So we get the match. Nikki Cross picks Asuka as her tag team partner. I thought personally that Nikki Cross was going to pick Naomi, right? Because I want to see Naomi get a little bit of a push now in the Raw Women's division, especially now that her tag team partner Lana is no longer there. But it was Asuka, whatever. Throughout the entire match, Rhea and Charlotte are arguing. You know, they're tagging each other in. Clearly, they're not on the same page. Nikki was able to get offense on both women, and you know, it is what it is. For the most part, Asuka did not get in until the very end. Excuse me. Because this was more about Charlotte and Rhea not be able to be on the same page and not be able to work together to get payback on Nikki Cross. And Nikki Cross taking advantage of that. So, near the end, right, we see Rhea does a facebuster, you know, and then Charlotte and begins trying to one-up Rhea at every single turn. You know, Asuka was screaming at Nikki to tag her in, right? Charlotte is mocking Asuka, which I hate. The way Charlotte mocks Asuka disgusts me. And then eventually, it got to the point where Charlotte and Rhea start brawling. They turned on each other and they started, you know, throwing punches at one another. Then Charlotte hit Rhea with natural selection, fucking Rhea over. And then Charlotte watched as Nikki just pinned Rhea Ripley. So technically, now Nikki could be in line for a future Raw Women's Championship opportunity because she's not only beat Rhea twice now in the last 2 weeks, but now she's pinned Rhea in actual action in the middle of the ring. So how dumb does this make Rhea Ripley look? This doesn't make Charlotte look dumb because Charlotte didn't get pinned. Charlotte, even though she lost the match, she fucked over her partner and gained momentum going to Hell in a Cell. Rhea looks like a dumbass. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about the way Bianca and Rhea Ripley are presented on Monday Night Raw. It's horrific. It's horrific. How dumb can you be, really, to let Charlotte betray you and then get your ass pinned as the champion for the second time in 2 weeks? And you people wonder why people want Charlotte as champion instead of Rhea Ripley. Look, I don't want Rhea Ripley as Raw Women's Champion because of the way she's presented. And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we do the Bianca and Charlotte stream eventually. But the way Rhea's presented is just awful. She's not good on the mic, and her decision making makes her look like a dumbass as a champion. As a champion, you should be smarter than that. You should not let Charlotte Flair betray you and lead to you getting pinned by somebody that's not on your level. No disrespect to Nikki Cross, but Nikki Cross is not on the level of Rhea Ripley in the ring. And it makes Rhea look like a dumbass for letting that happen. You know, I would not be surprised if WWE booked Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Cross for the Raw Women's Championship next week. They could do that because Nikki technically has put herself in line to earn a championship opportunity because she pinned the champ. And she's beaten her twice now in the last 3 Raws. So I don't know if they're going to do that, but definitely I wouldn't be surprised if that's where this leads to. I don't think Nikki Cross would beat Rhea Ripley before Hell in a Cell, but still, the fact that it could lead to that as a possibility and just the match happening that close to Hell in a Cell makes Rhea look like a dumbass. You brought Rhea Ripley in and you rushed her into the Raw Women's Championship, and now more people want to see Charlotte as champion just because they don't like Rhea Ripley. I'm not at that point because I don't want to see Charlotte as champion in general because she's overrated as shit. I'd rather see Naomi or Asuka or even Becky Lynch when Becky comes back. If it was up to me personally, I would have Naomi win Money in the Bank, right? I would have either Naomi, Liv Morgan, or Sonya Deville. One of those 3 win Money in the Bank, right? And then either way, eventually one of them become champion. I don't know. There's different scenarios I would put it. You know, you could have Sonya Deville you know, because remember, there was a storyline going where Sonya and Adam Pearce were not on the same page. It seems like WWE's kind of dropped that now because Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, they've been on the same page the last couple weeks. So I don't know if WWE just scrapped that storyline, right? And I guess Sonya's just going to remain as a WWE official. But yeah, I pitched that, you know, if you want Charlotte to win the title, I would have no problem with Sonya winning Money in the Bank and then cashing in the Raw Women's Championship or cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on Charlotte to become the Raw Women's Champion. I would have no problem with something like that happening. You know, you can also build Naomi up to become Raw Women's Champion, or you could have Becky Lynch, whenever Becky Lynch comes back, right? Becky go back after the title that she never technically lost, you know, and them do that and have Becky become the new Raw Women's Champion. Because I'm afraid, Paul said it earlier in the chat, you know, I would not be surprised if WWE is setting us up for Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam. I don't want to see it. I would much rather take Becky taking the title from Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. But who knows? Who knows? Clearly, we'll have much more of a direction once we see what happens with Charlotte and Rhea at SummerSlam. Who knows? Maybe Charlotte beats Rhea or not SummerSlam, at Hell in a Cell, right? Maybe Charlotte, I don't know who's gonna win the match. Whoever wins the match, right after the match, maybe we see Becky return. I don't know, but you know, look, the direction of the Raw Women's Championship is very up in the air. It's confusing. I don't know what to really tell you guys. I don't like the way Rhea's being presented, but I don't want to see Charlotte as champion. So, look, it's more that we're just gonna have to wait until Hell in a Cell to get more of a direction of where the Raw Women's Championship is going. But I don't like it. I don't like it at the end of the day anyway. All right, but it is what it is.
Wait, before you scroll away, you need to hear this. Republicans across the country.
Let me look in the chat real quick, see if anybody said anything. But all right, and nothing new, nothing big in the chat. We've been going for over 2 hours. What was the last time I did a 2-hour stream in general? You guys better hit that like button, bro, man. Like, damn. I'm giving you guys one hell of a stream, and I'm not even tired yet either. You know? Usually I would be rushing through these streams if I was tired, but I still got the energy. So, yeah, the Raw Women's Championship, see, man, makes no sense. It's illogical, man. That's the simple way to put it. Rhea Ripley, the way she's presented, is atrocious, and the Raw Women's Championship on Raw right now is just illogical. Illogical. Moving on, we had Mansoor versus Drew Gulak. Before the match, we saw Mustafa Ali, right? You know, if you guys saw Ali last week, he confronted Mansoor and told him not to trust anybody. And this week, Ali was giving Mansoor the advice of, you know, being careful with someone like Drew Gulak, you know, because Gulak could try anything to try to win that match, and, you know, you have to be prepared for that. You also have to remember here that Ali is supposed to be a heel and Mansoor's a babyface. I would love to see these two as a tag team. I don't know how you would do it. I don't know if you would turn Ali back babyface or if you would turn Mansoor into a heel. You know, but definitely I am very intrigued with how this storyline is going. Because Ali's a wrestler. He's not a manager. He's not like MVP or Paul Heyman or anything like that. But clearly he's invested in Mansoor's early career here on Raw. And I'm liking that. I really am. And I would love to see these two as a tag team because their styles, their appearance, it would work very well together. So if this leads down the line to Ali and Mansoor becoming a tag team and being a force in the Raw Tag Team division, I think that would be great. Look, WWE should have an endless amount of tag teams, in my opinion. Because if you're not going to use talent as single stars, just put them in tag teams. Put them in tag teams and let the tag team divisions on Raw and SmackDown flourish. There should be no reason for all the talent on WWE, that, especially with the talent that they have signed, to not be used. It's that simple. So, we got the match. The match wasn't long. It was, it was less than 5 minutes. I know Gulak and Mansoor, if they were given the time, they could give us a great 15 to 20 minute classic here. But it was less than 5 minutes. But, Gulak did try to go for some heel antics. And remember, Gulak's usually a babyface, but he did try to, roll up the tights for on Mansoor. But Mansoor was prepared for it, and Mansoor countered it into his own pinfall victory. So Mansoor was a little bit shocked by Gulak's antics, but it also made Mansoor look smart because he was taking the advice that Ali tried to give him seriously. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see this go. I'm intrigued to see where this leads. I'm hoping it's not going to just lead to Mansoor and then Ali feuding. I actually would love to see these two as a tag team. I want to see Mansoor succeed on the main roster, and I'm a big fan of Mustafa Ali. And I really want him to see him get some actual direction, especially after WWE failed him with Retribution. So it's something to keep our eyes on, definitely. Next up, we have Matt Riddle versus Kofi Kingston, right? This was good. So after the tag team battle royal, which opened the show, later on in the show, and I know Paul, I hope this makes you a little bit excited. Later on in the show, what's his name? MVP confronted Kofi Kingston backstage. And at first, Kofi was like, "What do you want?" And then at first, MVP taunted him about his loss to Drew McIntyre last week, and how even though he wasn't surprised that Kingston lost, he did enjoy the match personally. And then MVP talked about how he was a big fan of Kofi Mania, and even though they're on different sides, he was very, very happy to see Kingston succeed as WWE champion. But then MVP started talking about, why Kingston will never be like Bobby Lashley. And then Kingston cut a really good promo talking about the reason why I'm the person I am is because my friends and my family make me that way. And I use them as motivation to get better every single day. And without them, I would have never become the WWE champion I was. And I like this because they're setting the stage for more stuff with Kofi Kingston and Bobby Lashley. This is what you need to do. And I've already talked about the WWE Championship scene with the contract signing we saw earlier tonight. I've already told you guys, Bobby Lashley needs to retain against Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell. It's that simple. No ands, no ifs, no buts, no complaints about that. He needs to retain at Hell in a Cell. But after that, right? We talked about how, the Viking Raiders versus AJ and Almas should be a bridge to get us to RK Bro versus AJ and Almas. Kofi Kingston should be the next in line to face Bobby Lashley after Hell in a Cell. I don't care what anybody says. After that match last week, Kofi proved, even though in my opinion Kofi didn't need to prove anything, right? Kofi reminded people why he deserves to be in the main event scene. This promo that he cut tonight with MVP, just put that more into effect. After Lashley beats McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, I would do Kofi versus Lashley at Money in the Bank. And even if Kofi doesn't win the title because no one expects him to, right? Still, the fact that Kofi's back in the main event scene would be great. It's where he belongs. He should be fighting for the WWE Championship. And I would love to see Kofi become WWE Champion again later down the line. And here's the thing. here's something I'm gonna pitch this right now. What I would do, I would have Bobby Lashley beat McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, end their feud. Then I would do Kofi versus Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank. And then after that, when Lesnar comes back, I would actually do a match with Lesnar versus Kofi. Number one contender, winner faces Lashley at SummerSlam on Monday Night Raw. Give us the Lesnar and Kofi match we never got for the WWE title a couple years ago. Because WWE stupidly, and you guys can hear the anger in my voice. The fact that I'm getting this angry after we've already been streaming out for 2 hours, you guys see how passionate I am about this. I would do Kofi versus Lesnar on Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam. Winner faces Lashley at SummerSlam. I think Kofi and Brock could be a fantastic match if you actually make it into a match. We all know Lesnar's power versus Kofi's agility and athleticism. We've seen it versus Drew. When Lesnar is serious and he cares about what he's doing, the guy's fantastic. And we've already heard the reports. Lesnar is in talks with WWE right now to come back. He's going to be there. Unless something, crazy happens, Lesnar is going to be back for SummerSlam. I would do that. Give us the match you never gave us on that SmackDown when they first moved the Fox. Give us Lesnar and Kofi, number one contenders match, to face Bobby at SummerSlam. That's what I would do for Kofi Kingston's direction going forward. Let me know if you guys agree with that. But that's what I would do personally, right? But I like the intensity Kofi showed here in this promo with MVP. I hope it leads to Kofi versus Bobby and Kofi being, in the main event scene more going forward, because that's where he should be. Next up, Kofi did have a match with Matt Riddle. But, this is the second time both were in action tonight, which has kind of become a common theme for these two. We've seen Kofi and Riddle both in multiple matches on Raw in the last couple of months. But Orton met with Riddle backstage, and he took out that imaginary key, and he unlocked Riddle's mouth. Riddle went on about Burger King and all these other things, and then he asked Orton would he be at ringside for his match. Orton said, "I'm unsure yet," right? But when Riddle kept going, Orton took the key and shut Riddle's mouth off again, and then threw the imaginary key in a nearby trash bin. So then we get the match itself. This was really entertaining. You guys know how much I love Kofi Kingston and Riddle, and the dynamic with RK Bro here with Riddle and Orton has been great. This made for a really fun and enjoyable match. So Xavier Woods did the trombone thing, which does of course get annoying after a while, but it didn't bother me here because I knew it was going to lead to Randy Orton coming out, right? So immediately after he does the trombone, Randy Orton's music come out, and at first Woods was able to get away from Orton, but when he did the trombone the second time, Orton came out of nowhere and dropped him with a side suplex on the announce table. So then Kingston did a dive. He did the trust fall dive on both Riddle and Orton from the top rope, which looked great. So then we come back from commercial. Riddle is in control as he hit a bunch of moves. Then Kingston hit a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. So then Riddle took the fight to Kingston with hitting him with a bunch of blows to the back. He actually did Orton's signature DDT, which got Orton pumped at ringside. Orton started showing emotion, which he doesn't usually do with Riddle, so I love that. And then Orton told him to finish him off. But instead, Riddle played around too much, and he did the Randy Orton wake up taunt where he starts slamming his fist on the mat. He went for the RKO. Kingston countered it, and Riddle then tried to hit him with the Bro Derek, but Kingston was able to hit him with the Turbo in Paradise for the win, and Orton was disappointed with Riddle for not listening to him and telling him to finish him off instead of taunting. Even though it kind of doesn't make sense because Orton does the same thing all the time. Orton always does the wake-up taunt after the spike DDT. So the fact that he got mad at Riddle for something that he does every single week, kind of hypocritical there from Orton. But still, I love the dynamic here. You know, Riddle and Orton, they're not breaking up. And I really do enjoy these two as a team. And like I said, if this is a little, I like this little side story they have with the New Day right now. I do. I don't mind it, right? And hopefully this leads to Orton and Riddle facing AJ and Almas at SummerSlam. That's what I would do with these two. But yeah. Last but not least, we had we had Alexa Bliss with her Alexa's Playground with Shayna Baszler on the show. Look, I know we're 2.5 hours into the stream. I don't want to rant, but this was garbage. This was one of the worst endings of Raw that in recent memory. I'm not going to say of all time, but you know, out of the last 5 years, this was one of the worst. This was bad. There's nothing you could say otherwise. This was bad. I really don't know what to say about it. I really don't. I don't know why this was even put on the show. I don't understand it truly. Look, man, Shayna Baszler, one of the greatest NXT Women's Champions of all time, held that title for over 400 days just to be brought up to the main roster and treated like this. I don't get it. Shayna Baszler's buried, people. She's buried. Heavy buried. If you don't believe she was buried a couple weeks ago, she was buried last week when she was beat by Reginald because of fire. And now with this shit tonight. Why? I like Alexa Bliss. I do. And I was intrigued with this character when they first made it. But with each and every single week that they keep doing this nonsense, it's making me not care about Alexa more and more. Why are you doing this? I thought this was going to lead to Alexa versus Shayna Baszler in the ring, and then Alexa using her willed powers to get the win over Shayna. Instead, you did this playground stuff tonight where Shayna is running backstage, running through the Thunderdome like it's a haunted house from a fucking doll. And then, you know, you have Shayna, a badass character, a badass MMA character, who's not afraid of anything, screaming to end Monday Night Raw. She's legitimately screaming like she's terrified for her life because a doll appears behind her. I'm like, are you serious? Is this really what Shayna Baszler has come to? The Shayna in NXT would spit in the face of the Shayna on the main roster. I was like, what? Where's this leading to? What happened? And the show ended, and all we hear is Shayna screaming. What happened to Shayna? Is Shayna gonna come out possessed next week? Is that what we're expecting? Is Shayna now gonna be like Alexa's new puppet? Because now she's like under the spell, kind of how like Alexa fell under the Fiend's spell. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of this, but I really can't. I can't, man. I don't know. But I'm gonna play the promo here in a little bit. What up, Stuart, man? What time is it in England? I bet it's like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. over there. It's probably like early in the morning for you. So yeah, I know this is a long ass stream. I don't stream this often. I never stream. Usually my streams are about an hour, but we didn't start the Raw review till about like an hour and 15 minutes in. So yeah, I'm giving you guys a special long live stream, and I have the energy. It's only about 2 a.m. over here, and I'm gonna sleep late in. I'm not gonna wake up till probably around 11 or 12 once I end this. So, yeah. So I don't mind going a little bit longer tonight with the stream. Oh, you got classes in a little bit, huh? Well, glad you're spending your morning listening to the podcast, bro. I appreciate it. I know you probably listen. You probably listen to the podcast on demand when you have time, right? Because I'm almost never live when you wake up. So, special treat for you today. But I'm gonna play the segment here with Shayna and Alexa.
I had sex and a condom fell out.
What? Let's get the bundle.
You know, new friends come in different shapes, different sizes, different blood types, different...
Just a quick bud with a in.
Yay! Yay! All you have... Yay! Yay! All you have to do is apologize to Lily.
You want me to apologize to a doll?
Uh-huh. Just 2 little words. I'm sorry.
Wow. You are even more delusional than you look. You are the reason behind Reginald's accidents. More important than that, you are the reason Nia and I are no longer the women's WWE Tag Team Champions.
Me?
Yeah.
Me? That's just silly. I would never do such a thing. I just want us all to be friends.
Lily, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're just a stupid doll.
Oh! Alexa Bliss irate. She's not taking that.
So look, I liked how Alexa showed intensity here. You know, she legit hit Shayna with that right hand. And Alexa's pretty strong for someone her size, you know? So I like, this is what I want. I want to see Alexa in the ring. I want to see her fighting, you know? I want to see Alexa pissed and take it out on her opponents, you know? That's what I want to see. Have her cut promos and do the Alexa Playground stuff. And then in the ring, have her fight people and then use those wacky powers of being the Fiend, right? Because now technically that's what she is. She's the new Fiend. Have her use that to, you know, win her matches and, you know, use that to make her way up through the Raw Women's division. That's what I wanted for Alexa when they first revealed her to have this new direction for her character. Instead, you did this wacky thing tonight. I like the part where Alexa attacked Shayna. I had no problem with that. I'm fine with that. You know, if I'm Shayna should have went after Alexa, but instead Shayna goes after the fucking doll.
Apology Alexa Bliss was expecting. Shayna Baszler. Oh, don't.
He did it. And she's thrilled about it.
Get the hell out of here, Shayna.
So the whole Thunderdome set starts breaking down. Shayna's running through the Thunderdome, and you know, like clearly this was pre-taped, right? She's running through the Thunderdome, running through doors. There's nobody anywhere. Like the Thunderdome's just magically empty. There's no superstars or officials. There's nobody around. So like it's like what the fuck's going on here?
Stupid doll.
Wait.
I got this.
And this is stupid because this is Shayna Baszler we're talking about. An MMA fighter running through the Thunderdome. Locking herself in a random office room for a fucking doll. Can't make this shit up, bro.
I got this, okay. It's not happening. It's not happening. I got it, okay. 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 Oh.
Shayna looks in the mirror and Lily is behind her.
No.
Shayna.
It's just a doll.
So Shayna is losing her mind now. Shayna Baszler, people.
No. No.
Could you imagine WWE doing something like this with Ronda Rousey? No. Because they respect Ronda enough to never play and mess with her by doing something stupid like that with her in the storyline. This tells you all you need to know about how WWE views Shayna Baszler. They don't care. I want to care about Alexa Bliss in this storyline. I do. But this shit, this is not it. This should not be how you book Alexa Bliss with the Fiend powers. Not with a fucking doll running things.
No. No.
So Shayna... So Shayna breaks the mirror with a stiff kick, and all of a sudden you see scream, and you can see the panic on her face and the fear. And that's how Raw ended. So we don't know what happened to Shayna. We don't know if she's dead. We don't know if she's been taken hostage by this doll. But that's how Raw ended. One of the most weird and atrocious endings of all time, if you ask me. This is not the direction you should be taking with either Shayna Baszler or Alexa Bliss's character. No. The whole point of Alexa being the new Fiend is that she used to have these powers that she can use to, manipulate herself and have this like spiritual advantage over her, this supernatural advantage over her opponents as she works her way through the Raw Women's division. Not a fucking doll scaring an MMA woman. They would never do this with Ronda Rousey. I don't think they would do this with Sonya Deville. So the fact that they're doing this with, Shayna Baszler shows you that they just don't care about her. They don't care. And that is obvious. And if you can't see that, you're blind. You honestly are blind. And look, I just don't know what else to say. I don't. It's sad that this is what they're doing with Shayna Baszler. Look, and if Shayna disappears on Raw next week like all is normal, it's going to make things worse. Because the way you ended Raw, the cliffhanger is, you should be going into Monday Night Raw next week trying to figure out what the hell happened to Shayna. Wondering, is Shayna alive? Is she okay? Is she dead? Is she now aligned with Alexa Bliss? Is she now a puppet herself? Like, what happened here? I don't know. I don't know, man. But That was not a good ending to Raw at all. Shayna Baszler should be fighting for the Raw Women's Championship. That's what Shayna Baszler should be doing right now. Not running from a fucking doll in the WWE Thunderdome being treated like a haunted house. This is not the way an Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler feud should be going. No. The way this feud should have been booked should have been entirely different. And I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. That segment tonight shows the big problem with WWE. It's not the superstars. It's the way creative scripts and presents them. And it's just terrible. It truly is. Because really, this is what WWE decided to do with Shayna Baszler. This is what you're trying to do with Alexa Bliss. A fucking doll. Really? A fucking doll. She's been in an MMA ring facing some of the hardest hitting women. People that could legit kill her. And people that, that are scared that she could kill them. Vice versa. You've been in an MMA ring where you could lose your life in an incident if you're not careful. She goes from that and being, one of the longest reigning NXT Women's Champions of all time, one of the best in the world, to running from a fucking doll. You're right, NBA YouTube. Imagine WWE did Sasha like that. I would be calling. Look, if WWE ever did Sasha like that, oh man, YouTube would probably make sure that I wasn't doing podcasts anymore with some of the stuff I would probably say. I would lose my mind if WWE ever did that. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Look, WWE should be ashamed of themselves for that ending segment tonight. That was terrible. That was terrible. But, I don't know if WWE's ever going to listen. You can have all the talent in the world, but when you have a terrible creative staff like that, you're going to do dumbass crap like we saw tonight. But, that's about it, guys, for the Raw review. That's it for tonight's stream, man. I know it's long. I know, and for those of you guys like Casey, I know you were here for the whole thing. NBA YouTube, you were here for the whole thing. I don't know who else is in the chat. If you guys were here for the entire stream tonight, you guys, clap it up for yourself. You guys, you guys are the real MVPs. Thank you guys for your love and support, man. And, I can't believe I was entertaining enough to keep you guys here for almost 3 hours. I didn't expect to go 3 hours tonight. But I had a lot on my mind coming from the weekend of the WWE news, right? With from the weekend of the WWE news, right? With SummerSlam and SmackDown and all that. So there was a lot to talk about. Casey, I'm just curious. I know NBA YouTube. I believe you're in college, NBA YouTube, right? Casey, how long have you been a wrestling fan? Because you're very knowledgeable. Based on what you say in the chat every single week, you're very knowledgeable. So I was just wondering how long you've been watching wrestling. Because to me, you give me the vibe that you've been watching wrestling for a long time. You're very, very wise, based off your comments. So I was curious. 20 years. You're 20 years? So you're in so you've been watching all your life. You're in your 20s, right? I'm 20. I'm 22. So damn, you're 20 years? That's awesome. Damn. But wow. 20 years, damn. You're 20. Oh, yeah, so we're only like a couple of years apart. Oh, that's awesome. So you started watching when you were 5 years old. Damn, nice. I don't know. case you know my social media handles. So, but I know. I mean, you too. I know you're in high. I know you. Like, yeah, I seen your Twitter. Nowhere. Anyway, guys, I was gonna say something. Yeah, like I said, with all the WWE news, WWE news, man, I wanted to cover that. What was I saying? For all the WWE news, I wanted to take time tonight and cover that for you guys. I don't know. I don't want to spend 3 hours, doing these 3-hour streams every single week, but still, I have a lot on my mind, and if you guys enjoy it, you guys, I don't have a problem doing it. It's just, you guys got to show support. But thank you guys for everything. I don't know. Why am I having so much trouble ending the stream tonight? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Give me a sec, people. We talked about SummerSlam. We talked about SmackDown. We talked about is WWE selling the company? I ranted about Bianca Belair again. Then we did the Raw review. I don't know. I don't think I forgot anything. I don't think I forgot anything. Give me a sec, people. I don't know. But either way, man, I want to thank you guys as always for the love and support. If you guys enjoyed the video and the live stream, leave a like on the video by hitting that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the red button. And also the bell right next to my name, Fitz TV. So you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Make sure to follow me on social media. The Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff are in the description down below. Hopefully I can do a SmackDown review later this week. That's what I'm hoping. But, we'll see. I will be, for my anime people, I will have some anime content up this week. I just got to figure out how I'm going to do it. On Friday, I am streaming on Friday. I'm going to be streaming Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We got the new DLC coming out. So Friday night, like midnight, I'm going to be streaming. If you guys want to come through, talk wrestling, talk some anime while we play Kakarot, should be a good and fun time. I think that's it. I think that is it. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I don't know. I went through the outro. Why am I feel like I'm missing something important, people? Ay. What am I forgetting? Or am I forgetting? Or am I just delusional? Maybe, is this what it's like? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I just streamed for 3 hours. Oh, yeah. I think that was it. Yeah, next week on Raw. Is Shayna Baszler dead? Right? We'll find out more about that. And we have the freaking Evolution debut. Oh, man. That's going to be hell to cover. The Evolution debut. That's, And then we have the Go Home show, the Hell in a Cell. So, all right. Casey's telling me that I covered everything. So, that's it. I'm gonna end the chat. So, for you guys, no matter if you guys are on the stream or watching on demand, thank you guys so very much. I'm going to end the stream. You guys have a good night. I will see you guys later this week. You guys stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.